What's up? What's up? AWA Warrior. How are y'all doing? On this beautiful Sunday night. It's Sunday Night Football. Tonight we're gonna do something fun. We're gonna do a tier list for the MCU. Marvel. Everything Marvel related. Everything Marvel related is gonna be on a tier list from best, okay, so, terrible, whatever. Ranking. Basically ranking. That's what we're gonna do. Everything from MCU related. Marvel related. And Blind will be joining me, I believe, whenever he can. But sit back and relax, enjoy the show. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below, please. Please. And say hi in the chat if you can. What's up, Sideways? I'm just waiting for Blinded. Yeah. Yeah, so I've thought about doing this yesterday, but nah, I decided to take Saturday off, so I'll do it tonight. I was about to do it an hour ago. And you know what? I gotta go. I'll be right back. What I had to do? I had to go get something. Get a drink. What's up? I hope you're all good. By the way, yeah. So waiting for Blinded. That's good to see you, Red. I've been busy with Astrobot. It's so addicting. I suggest if you have a PlayStation 5, I suggest you get that game. I think you really enjoy it. I think Red would enjoy it. Rocket Red, wherever you want to be called. You would enjoy that game. I guarantee you would enjoy that game. I guarantee you would enjoy that game. I played it earlier today, played it last night, twice last night, and it's Friday. So if you get Astrobot, get Astrobot. And and this is just Marvel MCU. No Morbius. No, just no Marvel. It's just MCU stuff. What else was I gonna say? And good, Red. Get it. I think you'll enjoy it a lot, Red. I really do. You'll enjoy it a lot. I know you would. I'm waiting for Blinded because I'm not gonna start this, but yeah. So I'm waiting. I have everything set up. I mean, I'll wait for Blinded if he gets on. I think I sent an invitation. Yeah, I sent an invitation. I'm watching football while I do this. He's gonna play. He's gonna play Astrobot while on stream with me. That's the thing. That's the thing. The Dark World is the best. That's funny. Um, Yeah, yeah. I have to give him a second. He's coming on in a minute now. Any second, any minute now. I'm just ask him how blind it is. I'm gonna ask him how he is. I stole. I hope Tony pops in the chat. But get Astrobot if you can. You'd love it. I guarantee you'll love that game. All right. Once I get blinded, I don't know how. Then I'll do some. I guess I could put Hawk in there. No, no, no. Shannon Sharp live stream. I think it might be on the PS4. Yeah, I saw that red. I saw that. I think you get it on PlayStation 4 Astrobot too. But you should get a PlayStation 5. Just don't get the Pro, George. Don't get the Pro. Don't spend $700 on the Pro. Oh yeah, yeah. Blinded has to get his new laptop to work, right? Is it? Okay. Now, I wasn't sure if to put Deadpool 1 and 2 in it or just use Deadpool 3. I wasn't sure if I should you count Deadpool 1, 2, and 3 or the X-Men movies. I wasn't sure. So I just put Deadpool 3. Huh. So I'm just checking my phone. I think Blind is getting on his laptop. I saw that, George. I saw that. I watched it. I actually watched that. I actually watched that review. Gotta say, he's pretty fair. He's pretty fair. Yeah. What about cinematic multiverse? The MCM. Sounded like a right wing Borat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. There we go. There's blinded. Here's my partner, Brian. Hello, blinded.
What's up?
You addicted? Are you addicted, blinded to Astrobot like I am? You need
Oh, am I addicted? Um, well, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good game. I try to play it when I have time.
it.
So, yeah, that's why I am. Because I mean, I probably might play it tomorrow, but, I don't know, right? Because I
How
might
many?
have some work to do.
How many bosses do you have?
I have 288, I think.
Oh,
I'm
I
booting
have
up the
what?
game right now.
115, 120, 115,
Yeah,
120.
it is. Some of
I
this level I'm on right now is pretty freaking hard. It's the symbol level. It's like the last
uh
one in the game, and it's the hardest one.
yeah, this game It's harder than Mario.
Um, I don't know. I think Mario has some stages
Uh,
that are pretty difficult.
but this I do like the level. I like the theme stage.
Yeah,
I
I like
not
the
the, I mean
themes.
like
Yeah,
after you beat the boss, after you beat the bosses of each like whatever planet. I do like how they open up a level where it's like a theme based on a franchise. I just did the Uncharted one.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
even
wish
played
they
the
did more of
music.
that, to be honest, because it was really
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Like I would have loved to see a Last of Us level. I know like it's a mature game, but you know, they did one on God of War. That was a
I
mature
mean,
game.
yeah,
So
they did God of War. That's a freaking mature game, man.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, yeah, I like the theme levels. The levels overall are very fun. The bosses are fun. I like the movement of Astrobot himself, the way he moves.
Hmm.
I like the collectibles. I think the collectibles are definitely better than Mario because
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're rescuing bots that are themed on PlayStation games, right? So it's like, you want to see all the characters what they have, right?
And but the
So I
thing
like
is,
that.
the bots are collectibles, but they're for uses. You collect bots for unlocking stuff on the main on the planet on
Right.
the
It's like a
PlayStation planet.
decoration.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's like
Yeah. The
you need the bots to help you move around in on
right.
back in
Right. That is
space.
true. Yeah. You definitely need them to unlock things, right?
Yeah, yeah. All right. So we're
Yeah.
gonna.
So I
So
like
yeah,
that
this is
aspect.
the MCU tier stream. Um, I'm blinded. I wasn't sure if I was gonna put Deadpool 1 and 2 in there. I just put Deadpool 3. Like,
No. Yeah. Deadpool 1 and 2 shouldn't count because they're not MCU movies.
okay, okay. So okay, that's why I didn't put them in. So I got the list here. So I what I did, I made a file for MCU tier list. Then I made a bunch of files for each
Mhm.
franchise in MCU. So like I got an Ant Man file, Captain America file, um, Black Panther
Oh,
file. You
well, I
get the
have a
idea.
letterbox list.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I ranked them on letterbox.
Well, I just see a lot of people use this list to rank stuff, like on YouTube.
Right.
Oh, we
Oh, yeah.
so
The
yeah,
rank list. Okay.
yeah.
So how are we
So
going to
Ant
do this
Man.
exactly?
Well, we're gonna do it from Ant Man first because it's the first on the right here. It's the first one.
Right.
It's technically kind of like an alphabetical order if you really think because I made files for each franchise. So Ant
Right.
Man is A, right? So obviously that's gonna be first.
Right.
It is
Makes sense.
stressful when you're doing MCU stuff. You have to get like 30 to 40 things. It
Yeah,
is
this
stressful.
is gonna be long, so
Yeah.
we'll see how this works. But
Some will be easy. Some will be easy because there's obvious really really goods and obviously really bads. Then there's gonna be some like hmm hmm where is this where can this go, right? Like
right,
um for example like we're gonna do Ant Man first. The first Ant Man, this one, the first Ant Man. It came out 2015 after if Ultron, Age of Ultron.
right.
This movie introduced us Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, Jimmy Lilly as Hope. The villain was what's his name? What's the actor's name? I know the
I
actor.
don't remember the actor's
It's
name.
Kerry Stoll, not Kerry, Kerry Stoll, something Stoll, right? He was a Yellow Jacket.
Corey
So
Store, Stoll,
Corey Stoll, yeah,
Corey.
Corey Stoll. Sorry, yeah. Last thing I saw him was in unfortunately Rebel Moon.
Yeah, he was in Rebel
In the
Moon.
first
Yeah,
Rebel Moon. I like him as a villain. I mean, obviously, the third movie we'll get to, but I don't mind him as a villain. He's a typical businessman, corrupt businessman, villain, self-weapons. That's like it's kind of cliche. In
right.
It's not a critic comic book thing because you see in non-comic book movies that kind of storyline, that story. But I didn't think this was a bad movie. I didn't think it was a good movie. I think it's a middle tier movie, honestly. What
Yeah,
do you think?
personally, like I don't know. I watched this movie maybe like twice in theaters, and I don't
Hmm.
know, it was okay for what it was. I think it was a bit of a waste of potential, because I mean Edgar Wright was supposed to direct the movie, and yeah, I don't think they had some cool sequences, but ones that never really, I mean, because they had that briefcase fight, right? That was cool. That was all right. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I
yeah.
think they could have done a lot more. I think we also could have seen more of a flashback as Hank Pym as Ant-Man, because that's one of the things that the MCU really didn't do much of is
They
utilize
only show
Hank
like.
and Janet.
Hmm.
Yeah, Janet is obviously not in this movie, but she is referenced, and I think there's like a CGI wasp in the costume in this movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
They also did it in Ant-Man the Wasp too, but
I don't think Michelle Pfeiffer's cast yet, right?
no, she was not.
Okay, so it's probably a B then.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a B. What do you guys think, Chad? It's a B? I'm putting the B. Oh no.
I don't know. For me, I would put it C
Okay. Yeah, it's well now Ant
because
Man
there's a
2.
S tier, right? You got a S tier on here, right? Sorry, I'm not
S tier
looking at
is
my
like cream of the
phone.
crop. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I would put it on a C tier personally.
yeah. Ant Man 2. That's the sequel. It came out after Infinity War. That's Ant Man and
Right.
the Wasp with Ghost as not kind of the villain, but wasn't really the main villain. Walter Goggins. I forgot who the Walter Goggins what character played. He was
Right.
nothing really special. This introduced Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet. Um, the villain wasn't anything special. I mean, I understand her little
No, yeah.
story, sub story, but the movie wasn't that great. It
No,
wasn't.
I don't like Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, I made this was like my first YouTube video that I made was about this movie and how I did not like it, and I came
Hmm.
up with ideas of how they could have improved it. Like personally, I would have liked to see Hawkeye in the movie because I mean they had a really cool scene in Civil
Yeah,
War, and
dynamic. Yeah,
yeah, and that was a reference to
armed
the
theater villain.
famous Avengers cover.
Yeah, sideways. Yeah, Walter
Yeah,
Goggins is a side theater villain. I don't even know who he
yeah,
like.
that was a waste, absolute waste
So
of
the second one is a
Walter
C. You think it's a
Goggins.
C, George? What do you
I would
think?
put it. The thing is, like, if before Ant-Man Quantumania, I would have put it in D, but
So
it
you
gets worse somehow. So I would put it in C.
okay? I'm on Quantum Mania. That was a major big. That was a huge disappointment compared to the other Mans. This is supposed to be one of the. This is supposed to be one. They were trying to hype up this movie. People were hyped up for this movie because of Kang,
Yeah,
specifically Kang, not because of Ant Man. Like, be honest, it's not because of Ant Man, Paul Rudd's character, or that. It was hyped up Jonathan Majors Kang because they said Kang was going to be the Thanos of the current saga. Obviously, that's changed now, but at the time, it wasn't. It was still Kang.
right.
It was still Kang,
Yeah,
eh, and it failed. And it failed. It disappointed. It disappointed.
right.
And Marvel
I
even
mean, it
admitted it
didn't just
disappointed.
disappoint. I would say this movie is one of the worst. I would say it is the
Yeah.
worst MCU movie. That is my opinion because
Oh,
this was a struggle to sit through. And I mean, yeah, if you were around during the times when we saw the trailer, Aaron remembers. I was like, "Oh,
you were
this
loving
this
it.
doesn't look. Yeah, this actually looks pretty interesting. They have a lot of interesting ideas going on." The movie itself was really bad. I mean, they had recycled Rick and Morty jokes in this movie, which
Was
was
it written by the writers?
insane. Yes, it
Was it the same
was.
writer? Okay.
Which makes it worse. So the guy just took the episode that he wrote in Rick and Morty and he just put it into
I
the
didn't even.
movie. Kang gets bested by giant ants. The whole quantum mania or the quantum realm, I feel like is a waste of potential. I mean, there's the microverse in Marvel, which, by the way, they do not own the rights to it, but the microverse was an interesting dimension in Marvel Comics, and they didn't really do much with it.
And
If
yes, and
the
Modoc
the
was bad.
Yeah,
too.
MODOK was bad. In my opinion, I like the idea of Yellow Jacket being in the quantum realm, but
Cause
personally,
yeah,
I
cause it
don't
makes sense
think.
from the first movie.
Yeah, I think he should have been another Marvel character that fit better, which was. Oh shit, I'm blanking on his name, but he basically the whole premise of him was he's a tiny man in a robot costume, like
Oh,
a giant, and he fights the Fantastic Four. He's a Fantastic Four villain, but he operates
oh,
in the microverse. So it would have been a better idea to have him. And I'm sorry, someone in the chat, if you can remember this villain's name, someone put it in the chat for me. He's a Fantastic Four villain, but yeah, I think it would have worked
I mean, they
better.
could have
It's
used them.
Yeah, because I feel like this was a waste of MODOK, and okay, yeah, it might look a bit comic accurate, but he has nothing to do with AIM, so it's like, why even
Yeah,
bring him in? So it was just, yeah, and then also to the ending, I felt ruined the entire arc of the movie, which was, you know, Scott Lang was supposed to sacrifice himself because that was what was being set up with his daughter. But instead, he pretty much gets to escape the quantum
they
realm,
rewrote the
and
whole
there's no
ending like a month
consequences.
ahead. They redid they reshot the whole ending before a month ahead of the movie and came out.
Right.
It
Yeah,
was yeah,
it's just a bad movie. It's so obnoxious, annoying. The jokes are
and
not
now
funny. It's just
and now
stupid.
he's up in the air because of he's up in the air in the future MCU because we know Hope is not coming back unless they
Right.
recast her. Because the actress is
Which is
basically
fine because Hope sucks. One of the worst MCU
yes,
characters as well. A complete waste of the Wasp as a character. And overall, I think the Ant-Man franchise, it's one of the worst MCU trilogies. And these movies were totally unnecessary. Like the fact
yeah.
that, and I get like people have their own opinion, but it's absolutely wild to me that the Rotten Tomato scores of these movies are,
All
besides
the
Quantumania, they're high. I don't know why. Personally, I think they should be pretty low because
I
they just aren't good movies.
I for some reason, no matter how bad or good, no matter how bad a Marvel movie is, the critics love it or the audience loves it.
Yeah, but these suck. I
I
bet if you
know.
ask people like looking back on it, like, yeah, these movies are
You
not
know?
good
Do you
at
know what the
all.
critics score for Matt? Do you know what the audience score for Madam Web is? It's actually
I
quite
don't know.
high,
It's
50,
high, goddamn.
57%.
That's crazy.
And I know 57% doesn't seem high technically, but for Madam Web, that's high.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, yeah, this is a D movie.
It is not Dragon Man. Um, no, that's not the character.
Yeah,
Uh,
Wasp is less
Psycho
good.
Man. Psycho Man. That's his name.
Psycho
Psycho
Man,
Man.
yeah, yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Psycho
Psycho
Man.
Man. Now
Yes.
remember, yeah,
Yeah, because he
yeah.
was a
So this is a
crazy.
D.
Yeah, he's like a crazy deranged guy, and it turns out he's actually just a tiny man in a robot body.
It's
So
actually quite
that would have
funny.
made a
Like,
lot more sense in this movie,
it's actually
right?
quite
That
funny.
Darian Cross was, yeah, he shrank down, and that was like the twist. Would have made way more sense. Which one is worse? Madam Web is an entertaining movie
Madam
that you
Web is
can laugh
worse.
at.
It is, yeah.
No, no.
You don't think so?
Madam Web has an entertainment value. Quantumania, like I was bored to
Because
tears. Like I almost left that movie. So
I'll
I have
still
to give it to
hang
Madam
over the
Web.
villain, though. Hang over that villain.
Listen, a movie can be really bad, but it can still be funny to watch. Quantum Mania is a bad movie that isn't like I don't even want to watch it. It's so bad. It's boring. So
All
yeah,
right,
that's
yeah.
that's what's worse in my opinion.
So next we got the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie. That's
Yeah.
an S. Obviously, that's an S to me. First
I
Avengers movie.
mean, looking back on it, it's a decent movie. I think it would have been an S, like, yeah, in like the early days, but in my opinion, I think it's dropped down significantly. I would probably put it
A.
at, no, I think a B. I think a B is fine
Well,
because personally, I don't think this movie holds up super well.
I've
And
watched it as like this year. I'm like, this movie is not exactly as great as it was. I mean, I think it was
it's
good.
a good movie, but if we're comparing it to
Yeah,
everything that has existed right now, yeah, this is not.
it,
Well, George is talking about the first Avengers, but I'm talking about. Oh, he means the first, as in Avengers 1. I thought he meant the first Avenger. Never mind. But
No. First Avengers one. No, that's because Captain America will be
yeah,
coming up soon. Because I know I did this in order, alphabetically
yeah.
most of them.
Personally, I would put it at B. I think there's
Yeah.
better Avengers movies, and I mean, you would put it at A, but yeah, but
You want to make it
personally,
A?
I think this one doesn't hold up super well. I mean, you could put it in A. You could put it in A.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it doesn't really hold up super
It is
well.
12 years old. And
Yeah, and I also think there's a lot of problems with it looking back. Like the stuff they did with Hawkeye was kind of annoying. Um, some characters do get shafted, where they don't really have much to do. Uh,
well,
kind of like Thor. Thor doesn't really have much to do in that movie. But overall, I just feel like, yeah, it has some decent memes from it.
hmm
It has the cool action sequence at the ending, but pretty much everything that happens in the beginning of the movie is kind of forgettable. So,
yep.
yeah, I would say it doesn't hold up super well, but back then, yeah, this was like the best thing ever,
It's
right?
think it doesn't hold up super well, but it's not a bad movie. There's bad movies
Yeah.
that there's in the MCU. Next is Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, I would say, is a C because
Yeah.
this
Uh,
also doesn't hold up very well, and
It's
it's
the worst
because it's
Avengers movie.
very, yeah, I would say that for sure. It's convoluted as hell. There's there's so much stuff going on. They have to balance Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch. They also have to, I mean, sort of establish Ultron, and Ultron was again a waste of a
Unlikable.
villain. Not, I
Unlikable.
wouldn't say likable or not
To me,
likable.
it
I
was
would just
unlikable.
say, I, I would just say he's not Ultron at all. That's really my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
whole
That's what I
like
mean.
changing his origin where Tony Stark is the one that created him and not Hank Pym, I feel like doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, like it's also like kind of weird how it's never really referenced again in the MCU. Like, yeah,
Till
okay,
now.
Civil War
I
isn't
mean, till now, the
Civil
Vision
War's not
Express.
even, yeah, until now, but like like in Civil War, Tony Stark is dealing with more of the consequence of people dying and not that he created Ultron, which I think is weird because in the comics, like Hank Pym was always like traumatized by Ultron. So
Yeah.
personally, it's just
He was
I don't really like the change.
he was traumatized after the first Avengers movie.
Yeah,
Something I
I would say C. It's not the worst thing ever. Like it was still kind of fun. It still had some cool sequences, like the whole bike chase and Captain America fighting Ultron was fun. Another thing that was also a waste was we never got to see what was
it's
in Hulk's head, which
it's
just,
confirmed. FC. He's not a rumor. It's 100%
yeah, it's
confirmed. He's coming back.
confirmed. But yeah, one of the things that is I don't like about this movie is you get to see everybody's visions of what was going on in their head except the Hulk, which pissed me the fuck off because what exactly happened in his mind for him to
He just
like,
went crazy rage. Yeah, he just went rage.
yeah.
Like why?
And also
Why?
too, I hate that they went back and changed the original idea with Hulk was he was actually going to turn into Gray Hulk, which would have been pretty interesting to see, and I think it would have established, the different layers of the Hulk. But they decided against it, and it was removed. Even though, by the way, you can find a Gray Hulk
Mm-hmm.
Funko Pop from this movie. So yeah, I don't know. This movie just has so much shit going on. They also have to
How do you
set up Thor Ragnarok.
you
Like,
give a reply
it's
to
just fucking
this?
stupid. Reply to this. It says, "Will you be making a triumphant?" No,
I want you back so bad on text.
I'm not
Like
going
you're
back
supposed
to
to.
Twitter. I have
Yeah.
no
So
interest to go back. So,
this is not the worst a bad MCU movie. It's just not a great MCU. It's a C.
nah, not a great one, that's for sure.
Next is Infinity War. That's an
I
S.
would put a A.
A?
I'd put
Really?
a A. Yes.
Well, Infinity
It
War
is
was
not the
great.
best. It's not the best Avengers movie. It's pretty good for what it does. I think as a send off, it's pretty nice. Um,
Oh,
I don't
Infinity
know. There's
War, not
some.
Endgame.
No, you said Endgame. We're talking about Endgame here, right?
No, no, we're at Infinity War now.
The the one you have next is at Endgame.
Okay, we'll do Endgame then. Okay, Endgame. Yeah, Endgame is not a. I agree. Endgame is not an S.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not an S. Okay, yeah, sorry. I thought you said. I looked at the thing and I just
Okay,
see
okay.
Endgame is there. That's
Because
why I said
Endgame is
A.
before Infinity War. Okay, yes, because it's E
I would
before
put
I.
Infinity
Yeah.
War as an S just to clarify so people
Yeah.
know.
So yeah,
But
okay.
Endgame
Endgame
is a
is not
A.
an S. I agree there. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
send off, and it's a new beginning for some other characters. It's also a send off. Um, but there's a lot of things in this movie that don't make sense, like time travel.
Yeah, the
Like
time travel stuff was rushed. I don't like the fact that we didn't get to see Hulk's transformation into Smart Hulk, which is kind of annoying. Some characters I feel like, yeah, they didn't get their due. Like Black Widow dying and no one acknowledges it is weird as hell.
like what?
Um, I
We don't
also,
get a
I also,
we don't get a funeral for Black Widow. We just get one for Iron Man. No funeral for Black Widow.
yeah, I do have a Discord. Tony has me on Discord.
Yeah,
If you
just
want
you
to
can
find
add
me
me
on
too.
Discord, yeah, you could add me. It's just blinded braille.
It's funny though. Like you're right. Iron Man gets a funeral, but you
Yeah,
don't see Natasha get a funeral. Why? Because they can't get the body. You can still do a
right.
funeral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Personally, I think this movie has a lot to juggle, and as a result, I don't think it spends enough
This
time
is
with the core
this
Avengers.
this is the worst Russo Marvel movie, and it's not. And I'm saying that
No,
lightly because this is a
no,
good movie.
not for me.
Which
Not for me. Not
which
for me. No.
which one? Civil War.
We'll wait. Well, yeah, it's gonna be obviously it's gonna be Civil War, but we'll get into that.
I mean, look. Let's be honest. Most of the Russo movies in MCU are not terrible. All of them are not terrible.
I
They're
would
actually all
say
pretty good.
I would say well, 3 out of the 4, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, this is so yeah, this is an A.
Yeah, that's a A. In my
Now
opinion, it's a A.
now we're
Yeah,
at a
Infinity
thing.
War without a doubt is a S. This movie was
Yeah.
I mean, this is like pretty much the ideal Marvel movie where you put
Yeah.
everybody in the movie, you separate them into interesting teams that could work together, like the dynamic of the teams. Like I loved Star-Lord talking to Spider-Man, that whole dynamic
When
or
everybody,
Thor and
yeah,
Star-Lord. Yeah, when you see all the characters cross over,
interacting,
that's
yeah.
what makes the movie very fun and interesting. Like this is not a very deep movie, and it does not try to be deep at all. I mean, well, my only caveat. I'll get into my only caveat after,
Endgame is
but
more deeper than this. This is action pack heavy most of the time.
yeah, this is action packed heavy. Like, there's not a lot of exposition. It's just like straight. They
Yeah,
took the ball and they're running, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't pretend to be something else, right? So, and I mean,
we're gonna
besides
go with
Hulk,
with
I
the
feel
letter
like all the
grade.
characters are pretty much justified. They work very well. Wanda, Vision, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, with a caveat to them. Um,
There's every
but
interaction the characters have with different characters worked,
yeah,
and
they worked, and
there was no
also the fact that
awkwardness.
it ended on a cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, if this was like the first time where it felt like okay,
There was
even though yes, that did happen in the comics where people were snapped out of existence. The thing is, like here, it was like, oh, okay, they lost. It wasn't like, yeah, everybody got snapped out, but it's like, oh yeah,
it was
what
the Empire
are
Strikes
they
Back
gonna do?
moment.
Yeah, it was like, what are you gonna do? And
It was like
that made it
it
more
was like the
exciting for the next movie.
it was like the half blood Harry Potter half blood prince moment when Dumbledore was murdered by Snape and wasn't
Right.
like yeah like I like yeah this is no doubt an S tier. This is a,
Yeah, it is 100% S tier. It's it's just a shame that more movies didn't look at this and be like, especially the ending and be like, okay, this is how we
mhm.
should do things, right? Is
So
like the endings have consequences. It's not just
yeah
everybody this day is saved. It should be something actually happens and it makes you go, damn, I need to see the next movie.
yeah yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's
What
a
do you
S
think?
tier.
What do you think of
What do
this?
I think about this? What is better, Avengers 1 or Endgame? Uh, Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, I would.
Next is
That's why I
Black
put it A
Panther.
tier. Black Panther. This one is a tricky one. This is a movie that is good. It has a lot of interesting stuff going on in it. But personally, I think the action sequences are kind of weak. Outside the one in, was it Korea? Was it South Korea? Um, where he's like
Could
chasing the
be.
cars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could
the
be.
ending was all over the place in my opinion. Um, I do like Killmonger as a villain. I think he's quite interesting. His whole, being like
Yes, they
upset
do start
about,
right.
like yeah, his ancestryhood and not really getting his due. I think that made him an interesting villain. It's a good movie. Would I put it at A? No, no. I would not put it at A. I would put it at a B.
A B. Wow, I thought. Okay. Wakanda
Yeah.
Forever is like,
Wakanda Forever also applies. I think it's also a good movie. I think it's very emotional.
but I don't think it's
Um,
a B. Honestly.
I would put it at a B.
Really? Oh, okay.
I would put it at a B. I think it does have its fair share of problems, especially with
Yeah.
Namor and toward the ending with Shuri. I also don't like the fact that yes, they killed T'Challa. I don't feel like that was totally necessary, but I think it still works emotionally in the movie. But it also sometimes is like I just wish the movie was about his death rather than it being, oh, now Shuri has this new adventure where she has to now fight Namor and meet Ironheart and like I don't know. I think it turns into a standard comic book movie when it should have been something more because of the emotions attached to it. So that's why it goes in B tier.
Black Widow. Okay.
Black
I
Widow, oof,
look. I like some of the characters of Black Widow. I like Florence Pugh's character and
yeah,
David Harbour's character.
a little
But
bit, but yeah,
but overall, I thought the plot was not that great. It was a little weak. I did not like the villain.
mm,
I mean, I did not like
yes,
Taskmaster. I don't. It's honestly, I think it's a C.
I would put it in C tier too, because
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not.
this,
It's not a terrible movie. But it's
yeah,
not a. It's a yeah. It's,
I also think the biggest problem with this movie is it's supposed to be a Black Widow movie, but yet it still feels like a standard comic book.
yeah.
We're like, look at the ending where they're falling from the sky. It should have been smaller scale, grounded, more of a spy thriller, James Bond kind of movie. But instead, they go for this like Mission Impossible, which never really fits Black Widow, in my
Yeah.
opinion. She's not like high stakes. It's very smaller scope, smaller stakes. I also think they should have really focused more on her origin story to see.
And it's there's a reason why it wasn't Phase 3 because
I'll have to. Uh, Aaron
the
will
reason
send it to you later because I'm on my phone right now.
the reason why Black Widow was not Phase 3, it would have to be a different kind of movie because Black Widow is a Phase 4 movie because it introduced new characters for the next phases. Like Florence Pugh's
Yeah,
character. If they did Black Widow Phase 3, Florence Pugh's character would not be in it, unfortunately. Like
most
that's the
likely.
reason why it's
But
the ending. Yeah,
yeah, I just
yeah.
think this movie just I don't know. It felt like it was too late, and it's just I don't know. It has a lot of interesting ideas, but at the same time, it's like why is Taskmaster a woman and all this stuff? Why like why couldn't it just be Black Widow going up against the Red Room?
And but
Like
like
I guess it wasn't that interesting, right? Without Taskmaster, so it's like, and he was, she wasn't even a good part of the movie. Like she was the worst
no,
part of the movie by far.
it's like they gave away who the villain was. Basically, oh, she killed the guy's daughter. Oh,
Right,
now, yeah. Now we know who the Taskmaster is. Thank you.
right,
We have to see her again in the Thunderbolts movie.
bruh. I'm seeing
Uh,
Finbar's comment. I don't
for
think we
him,
ever ranked it though on stream though. To be fair,
no, No, we haven't. I don't know what Finbar's been watching. Maybe he's watching a different era order with a different line. Maybe he's in the multiverse.
I think on my channel I've talked about like my ranking, but I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah. What's next? Oh, first Avengers next. Captain America.
Yeah. First Avengers, this is a very good movie. This is a personal movie to me, because in phase one, this was like my favorite out of all of them. I really love Captain America. Captain America is definitely my favorite, or one of my favorite MCU characters. I would probably put him like top three, definitely.
Hmm.
So this movie I think holds up really well. I think it's underrated too. A lot of people don't like it, but it's a very classic kind of origin story. And so the thing is, like, I think I bumped it out of my top five though. I'm
I,
pretty sure I did, but this is a very underrated movie for
yeah.
sure.
So what did you when we talked about? Was it A?
I would say an A. Yeah, I would
Yeah, I
definitely
think
put it
it's an
in
A
an
too.
A. Yeah.
Uh, okay, next
It's a
is
great movie. It's still a great movie. It holds up really well. So
yeah. Next, well, next is Captain America: Winter Soldier.
yeah, and that's obviously everybody in the chat's gonna agree.
S.
This is a S tier for sure.
Yeah, this is the Russo's best movie,
Yeah,
I
this
believe.
is their best movie. Um, I think it really like people started to see, even though before I liked Captain America, but this movie made Captain America cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
stuff that they were doing with his shield.
Because Captain America could easily become a boring character
Right. At
if he
least
wasn't done right.
the in the Avengers movie, I don't think they really did him justice. But
Okay, okay. Link to his Discord.
yeah, we'll send it after.
Okay, yeah.
I'll get you to send it after. Yeah.
Oh, he wants me. No, he wants me to invite him on after we go offline.
Well, I gotta go to bed soon. Like so after the stream, I'm going to bed because I got a class early in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, Bar. Yes, cool. I didn't put up there yet, right? So okay,
Yeah, I'll get him to send you the link and then yeah, because after
okay.
this, like I'm signing out.
No, not to no to the stream. Okay, I did put up. So yeah, this is an
Okay.
S tier. Next is Civil War because that's the third Captain America. No, I call
Yeah,
this
this
Avengers two.
this one is my controversial take because I think this movie is very mixed to me. I think it's
Two
like
point
has
five.
some really cool moments, but I think the whole premise of it is premature. Doesn't make a
Well,
lot of sense
I do make fun of some
compared
stuff
to the
where they,
comics.
I do make some fun stuff in this movie where they can easily not go to a Civil War. I mean, why can't they just zoom on the face of the supposed terrorists and realize it's not Bucky Barnes? Don't they have face recognition?
Well, I just don't like the whole like it then turns into this personal beef between
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
America and Iron Man. I don't really like that idea because first off it makes it look
Superior power.
it first off it makes like the characters look kind of dumb, especially Iron Man. Like this movie really did some damage to Iron Man in my opinion. Hold on. I might have to put that on pause because this boss is hard. But I'm not. It's 5 minutes. Um,
Yeah,
if it's 5 minutes, okay.
Bimbo, we're not even like halfway
Well,
through the
hopefully,
stuff.
hopefully we can end this as soon as possible because it is still 9. So,
Yeah, we're
but
not really.
I do gotta fold some clothes and go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So this movie, I don't know personally. Like, yeah, it has Spider-Man in it, the whole airport sequence, but like the whole ending to me is just like a big what the fuck. Like, it's just, and I also think it's just too much shit going on at the same time. It's like it's a very story focused movie, but yet it's I don't know, they don't really take the story super serious until the ending. And I mean, look how many, first off, one, you get Black Panther and you get fucking Spider-Man, And then it turns out, oh, the villain is actually Zemo. Zemo really barely does anything in the movie.
No, he just manipulates him. Oh,
Um,
like sometimes, yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it's just like so much shit going on in this movie, and by the time it was done, I was just kind of like, man,
so
like, what were they thinking? Like,
so B, right?
I would say a B.
Yeah.
I would say a B because it's like, yeah, I get people love it, and it's definitely a people would say it's a top tier MCU movie, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I would say it's definitely their weakest movie. They just got too much to juggle. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that, George.
Fuck. Finbar's like.
Bruh.
Oh, that's just Captain Marvel because that's C. So in alphabetical
Captain
order.
Marvel. Captain Marvel. I don't know where I would put Captain Marvel. I always have it at the very bottom anyway of my list
It is a bottom. It is.
because it's like first off they butchered the whole lore of Marvel in general, which I don't like. I don't like Marvel being a woman and then they die, so you can't even have them back.
Hmm.
I don't like the whole structure of the movie where she doesn't know her origin story, even though most people know her origin story. I don't like that. I also don't like Captain Marvel's personality. She's like this. She's basically female Tony Stark, which makes no fucking sense. That's not Carol in the comics at all, even though now it's become that, which is dumb.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Nick Fury is definitely the best part of the movie, but I also don't like the whole retcon of the cat scratching his eye. I think that was one of the
Yeah. People
dumbest
are
things ever.
pissed. People are
Yeah,
pissed.
that was really dumb. So overall, I feel like this movie is just like there's so many things that frustrate the fuck out of me in this movie where it's just like what the fuck were they
Stay in the
thinking?
chat, Finbar. So
Yeah,
what?
and they butchered the character of Carol and
Yeah.
yeah, and this version of the character like by far one of the worst interpretations. I mean, the comics right now is also I mean beating the character to death. But the movie, man, like what a waste. So, you know what? I'll put it in D. I'll put it in D for real. Like, cause it's not good. There's nothing there. I can't find one redeeming thing in this movie.
It's.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's just that bad.
the villain was. Yeah.
Retcons after retcons. That's what that movie is.
And next is the Marvels. Even though
The
it's again,
Marvels definitely goes in
it's a
D
D.
too.
Yeah. Marvels is bad. Marvels is bad.
The Marvels is bad. I wouldn't say it's worse than Ant-Man Quantumania, but it's definitely bad. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because, yeah, it's juggling. First off, Carol, again, as a character, to me is not very interesting. She also seems not very bright or very sympathetic or very friendly. This entire movie, she seems really annoyed at everybody. She's annoyed at Miss Marvel. She's annoyed
I'd
at
be annoyed at Miss Marvel.
Monica.
Can you blame her?
Yeah, which by the way, Miss Marvel is a annoying character, at least
In
in
the
the
MCU.
MCU.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
And don't tell me she's a
Just
teenager, but like, come on.
Yeah, like believe it or not, but the Avengers game had a better interpretation of Miss
Oh.
Marvel.
Yeah, she
So
wasn't
that should tell
annoying.
you everything.
When she was challenging the Hawk at the beginning, she wasn't annoying.
No, she was yeah, she was curious about them, but she wasn't annoying. Like I hate
Asking
when
questions all the
these
time. Oh my god.
characters, these kid characters just have to just always talk. Like most kids don't always want to talk. You know what I mean? Like and if they do, they're usually smarter, right? So they don't talk a ton. So that's always something I don't like. But
Yeah, even Miles Morales wasn't fanboying over Spider-Man. Like,
yeah, yeah. But also too, the villain is boring.
yeah,
The
yeah.
whole premise of the movie makes no sense too, because it's like, wait, if Carol did all this
Yes,
damage
George.
from the
Speech the best
first
part.
movie, why didn't she go and help the Kree homeworld? Right? Like she pretty much did. She sat on her ass, did nothing. By the way, we never know why Captain Marvel can never appear on Earth or why she's so busy. Like they're always like, she's so busy. She's so busy doing what?
Oh,
Busy doing what?
did
She
she
couldn't help the
forget? Did she?
Skrulls. She could.
There were scrolls.
Let's
Did
list
she
all the things.
forget?
She couldn't help the Skrulls. She couldn't help the Kree. She
No,
can't
she did
help
that
on
for
Earth.
30
She
years.
can't.
She
Yeah,
only stopped Thanos. That's it. Help
she
stop
married
Thanos.
some random dude, and then
Sleeping.
pretty much abandoned their planet. Did absolutely nothing to help them. So what the fuck is she's been doing this for like the last 30 years?
That, by the way, that writer, I think is writing for Agatha. I'm not sure.
It's a awful movie. And then
Yeah, it
you
is.
also
It is.
like Nick Fury. They ignore Secret Invasion. The movie's just bad. It's just a really
I don't
bad
even
movie.
know where if it's after or before Secret Invasion. That's the thing.
I doesn't even like. Jeez, like getting through that movie. Nothing was funny. The action was bad.
Yeah.
Nothing very interesting. The powers were not interesting at all. And yeah, it's a very forgettable movie.
Okay.
Very
Now,
forgettable.
now we got the movie that just came out 2 years, 2 years, 2 months ago.
2 months
Deadpool
ago.
Wolverine. This movie.
Yeah,
Um. Look, the story wasn't the story wasn't all that complicated. It wasn't like the best. I'm still gonna give it
right.
an S because I love
I
everything
would
else
still,
about.
yeah, I mean, this might be recency bias, but
Yeah.
this movie has, yeah, it has great action sequences. It has a
Yeah.
lot of references to the comics. It does not pretend to be something deeper. It's just like,
It knows what
hey,
it
that's
is.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is what you want to see, and that's what you get. So,
I'm
yeah, I
I
mean, it's
I'm
pretty
giving
simple.
I'm giving it an S tier. I think it's S tier.
Yeah, I would put it in S. Yeah, it's one of the few very straightforward movies where they give
Yeah.
you what you want, and I also feel like they do the characters justice. And we do get to see Blade, which is also pretty cool to see him
Yeah.
come back.
Gambit,
So
Electra, Lord Kinney.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I do think it's a S tier movie.
Next.
Will it still hold up as an S tier movie? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's true. Next we got uh Doctor Strange, the first movie,
Yeah, the first movie.
which
This is a decent movie. Only
yeah
problem is the villain.
can Calicis, Kinesis,
Yeah,
what's it?
whatever his name is. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, who really cares what the villain is? He's not like some important villain or beloved villain,
I
but
also
also
think
it's just a waste of casting as
I
well.
also think when we see Dormammu again in MCU, I hope the design's a little bit better.
I like
'Cause
the Dormammu scene. That was definitely by far the best part of the movie.
I think the Dormammu needs to be better designed. I would like to see him
Yeah,
like
maybe more comic accurate.
yeah. Uh, yeah, it was a fun movie. Um, it's not.
Yes.
It's not. I think it's a B movie,
I
middle
think
of
it's an
the pack.
A movie.
A movie.
I put it in an A movie. It's pretty underrated. The only thing is the villain is not good. It's just that this movie has a lot of creative sequences, and that's what makes this movie very
Okay, I'll
fun.
give it an A. Yeah, yeah. Now we got Doctor Strange: Multiverse of the Madness. This
Yeah,
is a
this is going to be another controversial one
this is a tricky one. Yeah,
because the writing in this movie is really bad. But honestly, I don't really care about the writing in the movie, even though I have a problem with it. It's just that it's Sam Raimi, and I love Sam Raimi, regardless of whatever he makes. And the movie was just so much fun. There's a lot of like interesting shots in this movie,
yeah.
and even though I personally don't like the fact that they didn't do much with the multiverse, I still think it was like they did some stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we would never see this in another Marvel movie. You know, killing the Illuminati, uh, the opening sequence with, I mean, it's Thema. What's his name? Oh fuck. I mean, they changed his name. It's not even the same character from the comic, but you know, he fights the squid monster. Someone will post it in the chat. His
Samagor or
origin line.
something like that. It's
Yeah, but
not.
that's not what he's. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not called that in the
Oh yeah,
movie.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I also the thing is like I like the idea of Wanda being the villain. I think it is very interesting, and it's I mean they've done it in the comics and it does work. It's just I don't know. I don't like the whole obsession with her kids. I think they could have done
You
a
know what
different
people said?
angle.
You know what people said the joke about Wanda's. She could just create. She could just create him again.
Yeah. I also like the ending of the movie too, where it's like Strange goes into the dead Strange, and then he gets
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like
He caught
yeah
Gora.
the dead cloth. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's a movie that I like. I don't know. It's like a guilty pleasure. It's like I like the movie for what it was, but it still has its fair share of problems. So I would think I
Yeah.
would put this in maybe B.
Yeah, I was gonna say B. I was gonna say middle of a pack. B. Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing. B. Next we got Echo.
Oh, Echo. So this is going straight to D.
The D.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
this is
by
this is horrible.
far this is really
You,
bad. It was tough to watch the show, and I just
oh,
feel like
especially
they
the finale.
butchered the character of Echo. They butchered the character. Echo's a really badass character in the comics. I mean, for those that don't know, like the Avengers couldn't take down the Hand, so they pretty much hired Echo, and Echo took down their entire army. She's literally a one-man army, which is insane. She's a fucking like really strong character, badass character, and she did that when she was Ronin. But in the show, my God, very boring character, not very cool.
The whole
I mean, her whole like the
Kingpin
whole
too.
bullshit that happens at the ending was fucking oh
Yeah.
my god. Her relationship with Kingpin uh, is kind of not explored very well in the show,
No.
which is surprising.
Nope.
I also feel like the show just overall doesn't have much story. There's not a lot of story in this, right? It's like it's like oh she has this trauma with her family from the past of her father,
Mother. And,
yeah,
yeah. And
being
mother.
in, yeah, and her mother, and we see all that stuff, but it's like I don't know, like this whole story just kind of shows that Echo's not very, one, an interesting superhero, and two, it just felt unnecessary. It's like we didn't need a Echo show.
No.
Like Echo, I mean, Echo really is just a supporting character to Daredevil, and I guess that's what works. So yeah, I would say pretty disappointing show.
Next, yeah, it's a disappointing show for me. Next is Eternals. Yeah, I think it's Eternals. Yeah, that's Eternals.
Eternals, yeah. I mean, this is also too. It's like when it first came out, it was like, yeah, I, I couldn't say it was the worst MCU movie at the time. It was pretty bad, but not the worst MCU movie. I think the biggest problem with this movie is, uh, uh, one, the whole like conflict that happens toward the ending makes no fucking sense in my opinion. Especially with what's his name, Icarus. Icarus just like flipping sides, and that's the whole twist. I didn't like
Yeah.
that. I didn't think it was interesting at all. Um, I also think them not exploring Thanos or the kind of the lore that is actually in the Eternal comics from Jack
Hmm.
Kirby. It just I don't know. It just seems like it, it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, it doesn't explain anything. It doesn't bring up new lore. The characters themselves are not very interesting. I think the only good character is Cersei, which is good because Cersei is pretty much the only Eternals that really hops around in the comics anyway. But
Yes.
outside of
Yes.
that, yeah, I don't like any of them. I also don't like what they did to the Deviants. They changed
Yeah.
them way too much, which
Yeah.
then also opens a can of worms as, okay, if Thanos is a Eternal, why does he not look human? That's another thing that's never explained because in the
Yes.
comics, if you know, deviants are Eternals that just have a bad gene. So they
Yeah.
look
Different
different,
gene.
they look
Yeah.
mutated, they
That's
look like
Thanos. Yeah.
devils, right? Yeah, they all have different
Yeah.
looks to them. But here, the deviants are just another creation of the Celestials, and they have their own unique design
Yeah.
and purpose. So, yeah, not a fan of that.
So D.
Yeah, I would say it's experimental, but it's like experimental in the worst way. It could have been a cool art house Marvel movie that was more deeper and had some interesting ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty shallow. The jokes are awful. The action sequences are forgettable. So, yeah, it's a D.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next, I think it's Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, another mixed kind of
Yeah.
show. because it's not bad. Definitely not the worst Disney Plus show. But I would say I think my biggest gripe is the themes of the story, what they were trying to go for, because this they were trying to make it a little bit deeper than what people would wanted or expected. The whole, Captain America really being a symbol of more of
Hmm.
abuse by the U.S. government and
Yep, John
racial,
Walker. Prejudice, yeah.
what would you call, not just racial prejudice, but institutional racism,
Yeah.
things like that. I think it overcomplicates the Captain America lore. This was never really introduced in the comics, besides
And
Isaiah Bradley being a forgotten Captain America. But it
yeah.
wasn't like it is still the same. Like, okay, yes, he was experimented on. He didn't like that, all that stuff. That's fine. My problem is they take it a step further where they go, well, because they were injecting him with the super soldier serum. Sam goes, I'm not gonna take it because of this history. Now, personally, I just think it's kind of fucking dumb. I mean, he's supposed to be a superhero. He's supposed to be Captain America. Captain America is strong. He's fast. He's supposed to go up against someone like Thanos, at least hold up for a little bit. But Sam
Yeah,
Wilson
yeah.
is going to get crushed by a Thanos. He's going to get one punch
I
and
mean,
he's dead.
where is he going to go with Red Hawk? We see it in the trailer. Like, we
Yeah.
assume. Like,
So
yeah.
I don't really like that aspect of the show, but outside of that, oh yeah, and another problem I have is why is Sharon Carter the power broker? That was one of the
Yeah.
worst things in the show. Never explained. We'll never know
She
why that
like,
happened. What a bizarre fucking. I would say I would. The thing is, no, I would call it a character assassination because how did she make that fucking jump into this criminal underground
I really,
when she
I
was
really don't.
working for Shield, and she was the one who was against, Hydra taking over Shield,
I
but all of
honestly
a
don't
sudden now
think.
she's a villain in the underground.
I
What the
honestly don't.
fuck?
I honestly think Sharon Carter to me does not fit in the MCU anymore. Without Captain America, I
No,
don't think she
yeah.
fits.
Well,
It's
I
so
don't even
weird.
like her weird relationship with Captain America anyway. That was weird.
It's weird. I mean, like, he likes Peggy, but in Civil War and Falcon Winter and not in
But
Winter
he
Soldier.
likes her niece. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. You can't do that. It doesn't
Yeah,
look.
that's what I hate about some of this. It's just
It's
forced
like
romance. It doesn't make any sense.
no
It would make way more sense if
Flag Master.
Captain
Yeah.
America was with Black Widow, but no, they don't do that.
The
But
thing
we're gonna
is,
do this other weird shit.
they tease Black Widow romances with almost everybody, and
Well,
never go
Sharon is
through with
not
it.
assembling the Dark Avengers,
No,
so
no, she's not.
that doesn't even make sense.
The Black Widow's romance, they never really go through with her romance. I mean, like
No, yeah.
they
But it would make way
establish
more sense, but no, they don't do it. So,
even David Harbour's character. That's the Red Guardian is a person who has a romance in the comics, but not in it.
yeah,
Not in,
not on this one.
no, yeah, right. Lexi is his name in the MCU and in the comics.
Lexi
She's
is basically her father
and in the comics,
in
it's
the
her husband,
movies.
one time husband, right?
Yeah.
Romance, right? Right? Yeah, and yeah,
But I would
um,
say for Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
it's good to see
I
you
don't know,
football.
it's decent. I would put it at B.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
like
agree.
it has those problems, but it's like it's still like I like Zemo. They should do
Zemo
way
was
more
cool. I
stuff
like
with
Zemo.
Zemo, but they just
We start to
don't.
learn more about how Zeno was this wealthy guy this whole time. He's rich.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so these next movies we might
um,
as well just put them all in S tier. Okay,
the
because in
Guardians.
my
Yes, your
opinion,
favorite.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and I don't care what anybody says, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is the best MCU movie of all time. Okay, this is a movie that I watched. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched this movie.
I love
More
this
than
movie.
10 times. I love this movie. One of my favorite movies. Like if I had to pick one superhero movie to be in my, I don't know, top 10 movies of all time, it would be hard, but
Yeah,
I might also go with Guardians of the Galaxy because this is a great movie. I love this movie.
I loved it
The
too.
second one, I would say it's definitely the weakest of the three, but it's still a very good movie. Like it's definitely still an S tier movie. I do love it just
I'll say
because
this.
of yeah,
I'll
what?
say this. Two and three, I know it's all funny and jokes, but they get a lot more serious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like,
what I like about two. I
yeah,
like I do like the whole Peter meeting his father and then his father turns out to be a villain and it's very devastating for him. I do like that. I like that
yeah,
aspect.
I like that too.
I also like Yondu and Rocket teaming up. I also
Yeah,
like the whole action sequence at the ending. I really like that. I like the music choices in the second one too. I just love the movie. It's a great movie. The third one, very close to the first one. I think this is like the only MCU movie that I feel like the gloves were off. They were allowed to do whatever he was allowed to do whatever he
oh yeah.
wanted, and
Once he was
there's some
done, he's
stuff
like, yeah.
where yeah, there's some stuff where you're like, oh shit, this movie is going fucking hard. Like holy crap, like
Hmm.
when Peter
That's
takes that
smart.
one guy and just uses him as a surfboard
Surfboard,
out the fucking
survive.
window.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was yeah. Even though it's not a rated R movie, but there's still some stuff in this
It
movie
was.
where like, damn, that's brutal as hell. Holy shit, like
There were. This movie
um
was kind of dark.
yeah, this movie was definitely dark. I mean, you got the animal planet where like yeah, you see them doing drugs and shit and um
Oh,
yeah, this
testing on
movie is
animals.
definitely
Yeah,
dark.
between
Yeah, the testing the
civilizations.
animals. Yeah, I was crying. I'm not gonna lie. This is the
Yeah.
only MCU movie that made me cry when when they helped Rocket. Like everybody in the theater was crying. That was like such a powerful moment. And this was like a lesson where it's like you didn't need to kill a character, but rather you could show the importance of a character when they're near death. And I think that was such a great
And he need.
just a great scene. Like
And he
great
didn't need.
writing in general.
You did not need to kill off people to show that. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're done. The
to
send
show an
off.
emotional
Send
impact,
off.
and that's why I
Yeah,
love
an impact or
this
a send
movie
off, right?
because
Because like,
it was more about Rocket was
yeah.
so abused and manipulated
Oh
and
yeah.
controlled, and he always pushed away people and he always thought poorly of himself. But when he was near death, he still had his
Your
friends.
group.
His friends, his family, those are the people that cared about him the most. And that's why it was so emotional because it's like, yes, we all have some sort of like down or people have faced sort of trauma in their lives and it was just great. It was truly brilliant. Like the first time where you're like, "Oh shit, this is far beyond what we've got in the MCU." And I don't think and this is going to be controversial, but I don't think we'll even get close to it. That's how good these movies are. These movies were way deeper and yet they were by far the silliest, which is just ironic. It's just funny. It's the silliest Marvel movies, but yet they were the most emotionally
Well,
deep.
it's like black comedy, man. Like dark comedy.
Yeah, but I mean, like they still had that emotional depth.
Yeah.
That that yeah, that's why you care about these characters. The characters in the Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, they're not Iron Man, they're not Captain America, they're not Spider Man, but yet they feel way more three dimensional. They're very relatable, and
Oh,
on
he's just a
top of that
baby with Adam
too,
Warlock.
yeah, and on top of that too, they like yeah, when it ended, you're like, it's so sad because it's like the characters are just so good.
And and also it's sad because you're not gonna see some of the characters that you fell in love with. You're
Yeah,
not gonna see like Gamora anymore, or Drax, or maybe like Nebula, because like some of the cast is leaving after that.
yeah,
They're done.
yeah, this is the best MCU trilogy. It has the best MCU movies. It has the best MCU characters. It has the best I mean the hallway sequence in the third one, that I think is going to have to remain as like a top tier MCU
It was a great
moment.
sequence.
Yeah, the
Um,
song, the characters, everybody had a moment and it was like, damn, they're fucking badass as hell. Even though they're not fucking Spider-Man, they were still badass as hell. So, yeah, these movies deserve to be S tier. I don't care what anybody says.
all right, next.
The original Iron Man.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get to Thor. Don't worry,
Yeah,
because
we'll
Thor.
get to Thor.
Um, Iron
And
Man, the
I
first Iron.
agree, JFC. I agree.
Yeah. Uh, um, Iron Man, Iron Man, the first one, the first one. Yeah, it was a great movie. It was a good movie.
Right. Yeah, it's a great movie. I think it, I haven't really watched it as much as I did as a kid. Um, I mean, just because it started off, and this was like a movie that I saw in theaters as a kid, and yeah, it made me appreciate Iron Man a lot more as a kid too. He wasn't like my favorite character like to read,
Hmm.
but I loved the movie. I loved how grounded it was. So I would say it's a S tier. I think
Yeah.
it automatically has to go into an S tier. Um, does it hold up? I'm not really sure, but I don't think it matters that much because its significance and what it established is
Hmm.
far greater. And also, too, I think it just made comic book movies in general more like they found a way of making a character that didn't seem super grounded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and obviously
Um,
RDJ, John Favreau directing actually did a pretty good job. So yeah, I think it deserves S tier.
Next is Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I haven't really watched this movie in a very long time. I don't think it's as bad as people say, but I will say it is pretty much forgettable. Very
Yeah.
forgettable until the ending. So I'm kind of mixed on this because it's like it's either I would okay, you know what? I'll put it in C.
Yeah, I think it's a C too. And there's some things I liked about the movie. I mean, it was the movie that kicked off the MC. I mean, the MC. It was the first movie that kind of springboard into the MCU with introducing Nick Fury, and it was a movie that springboard kind of the Avengers, right? Like with the introducing Black Widow and Nick Fury. That's what it was. Like that was I like that. I did not the Whiplash. Um, Even though he was like he really wasn't the main villain. The main villain was Hammer, Justin Hammer. But yeah, it's an S tier. Not S tier, C tier. Yeah, there we go. Iron Man 3.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
So yeah, Iron Man 3 now.
Yeah, Iron Man 3. This movie also too I think is a bit underrated. I think people hate on it a little too much. Um I like the twist, but it's like I get it. It's not the Mandarin, and I think that was like the biggest problem is that it's like they had a really cool twist that really fit the theme of the movie where it's like yeah, like especially the social commentary of it of how America oh sorry but how America kind of try to frame a specific enemy publicly, right? And it
Yeah.
was more of a designed enemy. It wasn't really someone that was real.
I mean,
And I thought that was probably the most interesting part of the movie.
the thing is, I don't mind that twist anymore because it was Shang-Chi did. I thought it was great how they kind of
Yeah,
went back to that. The only one gripe I had about this movie, I think Tony Stark's a fucking idiot for basically challenging the Mandarin to come to his home. Like, don't Tony Hawk should
yeah,
be. I know he's arrogant, but he should be smarter than that. Like,
right. Or he should have had a plan in place.
like this is the difference between him and Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne would not be like that.
Yeah, I do like the house party protocol. Yeah, when he gets all the
Yeah,
suits.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Also, I think this is another thing too. Iron Man 3 has uh one of the best MCU set pieces when
yeah.
he is yeah when he's the people are falling from the plane and he has to save them. I'm not sure why the MCU doesn't have a lot of moments where they're saving people, which is
They
really
don't.
weird.
That's what I say for some time. You don't see him saving people.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Spider-Man 2 moments in the MCU, and this is
You don't.
like the very few of
You don't
them.
see Tom Holland. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You don't see, yeah, like but Tom, you see what Tom Holland Spider Man because as Spider Man does from once in a while, you'll see him like save like the from the first movie solo movie. I mean the boat scene, but you need Iron Man's help for that too.
Right.
Remember? Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see it in MCU. You don't see him helping citizens out because they really don't do street. I mean, to Spider Man's really the first street character they did in MCU. All the other characters are not street characters.
Yeah, I just
So
wish they had more Spider-Man 2 moments where they save
even
people and they interact with them.
Superman is a street character if you think about it.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be that way though, because I feel like it takes away, like that Spider-Man 2 scene is still one of the best
Yes,
action sequences because it's so emotionally impactful. It's like how they treat Spider-Man, how Spider-Man treats
yes.
the people. I mean, you never really get to see that in the MCU, which kind of sucks because I think it would change our perspective on some of these characters a lot more. And I think it would also separate them
If you just
more
if you
too,
just I mean if you
personal
just see someone saving
personality
somebody
wise.
from a mugger or about to get mugged or whatever,
Hmm.
I'd be grateful for that. Like come on, because
Yeah,
that helps
I
a long way. Oh yeah, you saved
it
us from
does
a
go a
world
long
invasion.
way.
You saved us from destruction. Destruction from you saved us from destruction of our cities from invasions. But like, how come you just save you from a
Right.
smugger?
Yeah, I think it goes a long way,
Only
and
Spider Man you
they
see
need
it.
to.
Only
Yeah.
Spider Man because the majority of MCU characters are not street level heroes. They just wait for something happens and then they go. That's when they go. Right? They don't patrol like Spider Man does. Right? Or
Hmm.
like Daredevil. Right? Right?
Right.
They're not. DC does a better job of that.
Yeah. I mean, I still would put this movie at like a B.
All right. Which
Iron
one
Man
is this?
3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3. All right. What's next? Hawkeye, the TV series.
Hawkeye. Yeah, this show, like, this is very few or rare shows where it's like, yeah, this was decent, but it's
Yeah.
just forgettable. Very forgettable show. I think I think the whole dynamic with Kate Bishop, I think Kate Bishop is a better character in the MCU than she is in the comics, which is again very rare that happens. Echo was better here than in her own show. They don't really do a lot with Clint, which I think sucks because Clint in the MCU is not very close to Clint in the comics. Clint in the comics
No.
is way more relatable, down to earth, very chill, funny character. In the
Clint
MCU, he's just a straight man, doesn't talk very much, doesn't say or
has a
do
bit of a story.
anything.
As a family, he has a bit of a story, but not like there's not like a major arc
Yeah,
for him at
yeah, I
all.
just prefer comic Hawkeye. I think he's cooler.
Yeah.
And the show was supposed to be, hey, we're gonna take the Matt Fraction comic and we're gonna make it into a TV show, but they really didn't. It was just MCU Hawkeye that,
Hawkeye could have been 8 or 9 episodes. Yeah.
yeah. I
A lot
mean,
of Marvel shows back then could
to
have.
to be honest, they should have really played more into the comic. You know, where it was Hawkeye was more like getting beaten up at every step of the way. He's kind of chill, but he's kind of like a bumbling idiot a little bit, just to make him a little bit more relatable and more grounded and street level. This show is just like it has it, but it's
And
lacking what the comic
and and one of his main
did.
villains wasn't people thought like Swordmaster was it Swordmaster? The guy was dating Kate Bishop's
Yes,
mom. We thought he was gonna be
yeah,
like the twist. He was gonna be one of the villains because in the comics he is a villain, but nothing. They decided to
right.
make him
Yeah.
right. Um, yeah,
I also think
that's
it was kind of a missed opportunity to not explore Hawkeye's origin.
yeah. All we know, he just got married. That his wife was used to be known as Mockingbird. I guess she was Agents of Shield, and
Hmm.
yeah, like his only arc is that we knew he had a family. They get snapped, right? They get dusted. Becomes Ronin, becomes basically the anti-hero, and that's what the Hawkeye premise is, right? Like the
Yeah.
oh, there's a show, and and
I
Kate
also
Bishop.
think they could have explored that more too with
Yeah,
him being Ronin because yeah, we didn't get to see a ton of that in Endgame, which kind of
yeah.
sucks. So
They ain't
I don't
good,
know.
man.
I'm mixed on this. Because it's
I
like
think
it's
it's a
just
B
such
at
a
best.
forgettable show. Yeah, I would say B. It's like a low B in my opinion because
Yeah,
it's not like I said, it's not like nothing really
there's
stands out in the
there's
show
worse
besides
MCU
Kate Bishop.
shows. There's
Oh
worse
yeah,
MCU
what they
shows.
did to Kingpin was I don't like that. That was just dumb in my
But they did
opinion.
both shows of Kingpin.
I think Echo had a better version of Kingpin, but it was just a bad show. But like
Yeah.
in Hawkeye, he was too
Oh.
goofy and a little too silly, and especially because it was the Kingpin from Daredevil, the Netflix show. At least Vincent D'Onofrio, it was kind of like a bit jarring. So I didn't like that. It was cool that he was in it, but I didn't like what they did with him. So yeah,
Yeah. Next we got Loki, the TV show. This is an S.
yes.
This is the best
Um,
MCU.
I mean, I guess, yeah. If we're not counting the Netflix shows, then this would definitely be the best MCU show. So
Yeah.
I would say the second season is an S. The
Yeah.
first season is an A,
A.
but it's still very strong. The second season, I feel like what they did with Loki's character, his whole arc, the whole like great purpose, the emotional distraught that he goes through, it was
Mhm.
great. I think again, this is like um the very few MCU projects that really dive emotionally into the character, and I think it makes them very strong, makes them very relatable, and by the time you get to that ending, you're almost in tears because you're like, God fucking damn, like the shit that he goes through in the second season, you really do feel for him, especially that moment where he lost all his friends and he was just like, I'm fucking lost and that's it. Or there's a scene where he has with Sylvia at the bar. That was a great scene. I love that scene. The conversation that they have, those were the stuff that made the show. The only
Mhm.
problem I would say is the show's not very heavy on action, and
No.
it does have a lot of it's more of a television show. Let's put it that way. The first season at the ending where you have all the Lokis in the void, that was cool. But yeah, it's not a very action
It's not an
heavy
action
show.
packed. No, no, no,
No.
no. It's
But it is
even
very good writing though, without a doubt.
yeah, yeah,
Especially
yeah,
with Loki as a character.
yeah,
So yeah, I think the S is fair. It's
yeah.
fair placement.
What's next on the list? Moon Knight. Oh,
Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight. So I'm a big Moon Knight fan from the comics.
inconsistent
I
show.
I
Bad
love the
finale.
character. The show,
Good
awful.
episode
I
five, but bad
hate the
finale.
fucking show. I think they butchered the character of Moon Knight. He's not even
Yes.
very similar to the character in the comics, especially what they did with Mr. Knight. That was dumb as hell. I don't like Stephen Grant in the show. He's a bumbling idiot. That's not who Stephen Grant is at all. Mark Spector is pushed to the side, which is totally bizarre because he's the main character. I don't like the villain. The villain is lame as hell. Waste of Ethan Hawke, by the way. I just don't like the show at all. I watched it, sure. I mean, the costume was cool, but this is not Moon Knight at all. I mean, if you've watched the show and you haven't read any Moon Knight comics, except for Michael Bendis' Moon Knight run, that was dog shit. But Moon Knight is a very underrated character, and for the people who have read him, everybody was saying he should be in the MCU. He should have been in the Netflix shows. He's a great character. Why aren't they using him more? He's underrated as hell. Then we finally get it, and it's nothing like
Mm,
the character at all. This is not the tormented character who is going through all this like psychological problems and doubt and anxiety. The character's such a great character, and he's not fucking Marvel's Batman. Okay, he's not
no.
fucking Marvel's. He's way more complex. They go really deep into his psychological state, his multiple personalities, or I guess his what do you call it? Identity. This I
Um,
forget the term of what it's
Anxiety
called.
disorder. I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called.
I mean,
I
the
know.
only episode that really goes into it is episode 5, which is by far the best one. I like Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. I just think it's a waste. It's not the character. It's not what we expected. I also feel like the writers don't really like Moon Knight because they pretty much said they had to make him different from Batman, which I think is a red flag. When you start comparing Moon Knight to Batman, it's just dumb because it's like
It's
no one
not.
does that with Daredevil. So why do people do it with Moon Knight? Just because, oh, he's
Yeah.
crazy and he's a vigilante. So I guess we can compare him to Batman. And he's rich, right? That's also another thing. He's rich and wealthy. So, but it's like there's so much other stuff going on. They really should have done, in my opinion, and this is a great Moon Knight run. You should read it. Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight, great comic, probably the one of the best modern comics, so to speak. But it was just a story about Moon Knight falling into his madness. It was pretty much, if you've seen the show, no, it's like this. It's like Jacob's Ladder meets, what's that fucking show? It's the X-Men show, the only X-Men show, Legion. It's
Legion.
kind
I
of
know
like
that.
that. That's what this is what Moon Knight the show should have been. Like separated from the MCU. Is he a superhero? Make it very ambiguous. Make it a more serious show, more mature, right? It really should have been on the level of Daredevil, and they did not do
Yeah.
that, which is a shame. So I
It's
think
not
this
good.
deserves a C tier
Oh,
because it has
I'm
potential,
surprised. Okay.
but yeah, C. I would say C tier because I would come back for a second season. It's not the worst thing ever. But yeah, so it's not the worst thing ever, but
I'll be right
I
back.
think it could be improved. Yeah. So yeah, while he's gone, I mean, I guess we'll talk about what's next. Miss Marvel. Now, here's the thing, Miss Marvel, I did not finish. Why? Because I did not like the show. I don't
Okay, I'm
like.
back.
Okay, you're back. I was just introducing Miss Marvel, so I gave my take,
I hated
my
Miss
hot
Marvel.
take. You watched it. I did not watch the whole thing.
I did not like
And
it.
I
That's
don't
just
I don't
annoying.
like it. She's annoying. I mean, this was like people always complain about Miss Marvel, but this is like this was me now seeing why people hate the character because she's annoying. I don't really understand why she likes Captain Marvel in the MCU. It
Yeah,
doesn't really make
that's
sense to me.
yeah.
Give me a
Thank
second.
you.
My phone's about to die.
Okay. I, all right.
Okay, that was a save. But I don't like the MCU version of Miss Marvel. I think she's boring. As a character. She doesn't get to interact with a ton of Marvel characters, and that in the comics kind of matures her a little bit. I also don't like the change to her powers. Like, yes, visually it looks cool, but I think it kind of took away from the awkwardness in the comics, right? Where she has like, oh, my body's growing and it's weird and they're not it's not glamorous powers, right? And I think that humbles the character a little bit. But in the MCU, she just has cool looking powers, which I think defeats the whole purpose of the character. So I don't. So I just don't like the MCU version of the character. I also don't like the show because it's like too Disney Plus or Disney Channel esque for my liking, and that's why I couldn't watch it. It just felt like I was watching a children's show, where it was like the characters were shallow. The her whole family doesn't come across very realistic, which is funny because everybody's talking about oh how realistic it was. Not to me, not to me. And I'm someone who's friends with someone who is Pakistani, so and I know his family very well, and I know. Listen, they don't act like that. Okay, so I wasn't a fan of that. I don't think it was
No.
realistic. Maybe for Americans, but not as a Canadian. I
I
also
tried the
don't.
same.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's too Disney Channel esque, and I didn't
Yeah.
like it. So
Oh, this one. This is a D. I'm sorry. This is
yeah,
secret
what
V.
did you put? What did you put for Miss Marvel?
I put a
D.
D. I didn't. I hated
Yeah.
it.
So now we have Secret Invasion. Now
That's a
Secret
D.
Invasion.
It's
Again, did not finish it. One, it is by far
The
the
worst.
worst MCU show.
Yes, hands down,
M-
hands down.
Maybe even the worst. I mean, we have Ant-Man Quantumania, but I did specify Ant-Man Quantumania is the worst MCU movie. Secret Invasion is the worst MCU show and MCU project. Wow.
That
There's
is
so
definitely up
much to
there.
talk about with this show. Even though I didn't finish it, the show was so
Poor.
bad on so many levels. Okay? The
Not even the
story,
MCU, not even the Marvel shows liked it.
yeah, not even the MCU shields liked it, which should tell
Yeah,
you something.
yeah.
The premise of the show was again premature. Secret Invasion as a storyline really should be an Avengers level movie.
It should have been a movie.
The Nick Fury was butchered. They killed Maria Hill.
Yeah,
Why? For stakes, even though no one else
statement.
dies. The the villain sucks balls.
And nobody from
Okay.
the
The
Avengers goes to her funeral. Or when there's
Yeah, and then the whole ending that I yeah, again, I didn't finish it, but I saw the ending when they inject her with the powers. Holy shit, that was beyond cringe. This
oh
show
yeah,
is just it's just yeah, I remember when it was coming out, people were like, "This is gonna be Marvel's Andor, Marvel's Andor." It's
no.
Marvel's. I don't know. It's a trash bin. It's nowhere. There's nothing deep about it. Nothing interesting about it. It took all the elements that were from the comics that made that story interesting, and then threw it in the bin. So,
Dr. Muriel's gonna play a Dr. Variant.
and the fact that no one mentions this events of the show really
Unfortunately,
just
there's
tells
no
you
F
something.
tiers. There's no F tiers. Fortunately, I would put an F tier as a
Yeah,
fail
I
of
would
one.
put it in F tier. It would probably be that, and Ant Man would be an F tier.
Yeah, this show is horrible. I mean, it was.
Horrible,
I I
awful.
don't know what I was watching. Next is
Just
Shang
as
Chi.
bad as Streamlabs. Go fuck yourself, Streamlabs.
Next is Shang Chi in the Legends of Ten Rings. Yeah, Ten
Yeah,
Rings. This
this
is
is a decent movie. I was surprised by this movie.
yeah. I was surprised by it too. I like the movie. I
Yeah, I
like.
liked it. I think it had cool action sequences.
Hmm.
Um, I Shang-Chi, I think I think my biggest gripe with the movie is Shang-Chi has a really interesting backstory that is not explored, which is I mean they show you a little bit of it, but him being a villain or working with his father to do these hits, I think we should have seen that because that would have made the character stand out a lot more. He has a dark past that he's
Yeah.
trying to run away from. And I also feel like we didn't really get to see his level of martial arts because I mean, that's his name in the comics, right? Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
We don't really, I wish they did more with him, and we got to see some really, like I'm talking like Ray levels of action sequences, right? Old boy action sequences, like just like balls to the wall with this character. I like his sister. His sister is a new character. I think it was really interesting to add her.
Oh, so
Um,
she's a new character for the MCU only.
yes, yeah, she's only from the MCU. I do like what they did with the Mandarin. It's not the Mandarin from the comics,
Yes, it is.
but
Yes,
I
yes.
think it still kind of works. I think the only thing I have a problem with is once they get to that other realm,
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh.
it's
Yeah.
not explored well enough. I would like to know what the lore is behind all of it because it just
Mhm.
felt a little random. And Shang-Chi's not he's not a mythical character, so to speak. He's more of a grounded character. So it's like they definitely were playing a lot
Sure,
with
of the
his
Chinese mythology.
yeah, which I think is fine, but
Yeah.
personally I think they should have just kept it a little bit grounded.
Yeah.
It's a decent movie, so I would put it I don't know because it's like I'll put it in A. I'll put it in
Yeah,
A.
yeah. I think it's an A movie for sure.
because yeah, I can't. Besides like some minor criticism, I can't really say it's like awful or anything like
Oops,
that. It was surprisingly
I got
good.
She-Hulk. You're not any.
Yeah. So who's next?
Oh, She-Hulk was technically next. So we'll go
Oh, oh,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk is okay. Here's the thing. My take on this is, She-Hulk is not as bad as people say it is. I don't think it's a terrible show, but I think the biggest problem with the show is the ending, and I also think
Yeah,
it
that's
really
a,
should have been more of a show where it's like different cases every episode, and I think it should have been longer as well.
it should have
I
been
also
like an
feel
actual. It should have been like an actual sitcom show, or where every
yeah,
episode is not is there's it's not really because sitcoms are not right. There's not really an arc.
right.
Sitcoms, right? Sitcoms, each episode is a different story.
Yeah, I think the show just had a lot of
Yeah,
potential and they didn't really expand on it.
or it could be.
I I think the show should have been a little bit more adult because
Yeah,
She-Hulk is a like I'm talking like more like adult swim humor. That's like what I would have done with the show. I would have made the show more out there and like try to get like comedy writers who I mean Jessica Gao or whatever her name is, she wrote
yes,
for Rick
Gal.
and Morty, but which is fine, but it's like I don't think she really did enough with the character. I feel like she's not really a She-Hulk fan because the She-Hulk is, I mean, she's one of the most prominent female characters in the Marvel comics, but they don't do much with in the
Look at
show.
all
They
her
don't
short
really
films.
do anything.
I
And
think
I think if
sometimes
anything, the character's reputation has been ruined because of this show, which
I
is a
think
shame.
sometimes these writers, when they work their humor works on one show, they think it works on another show with another character. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily
it doesn't
translate.
work. Like the
Yeah,
cases
it
were not
can.
funny,
No,
and the scenarios she was in was not funny, and I think sometimes it was a little bit too preachy, and I think the character really needed to be more like there really needed to be a separation between
and
Jennifer and
honestly,
She-Hulk.
honestly,
She-Hulk should have had a different personality to Jennifer because
if
that's
she's
what
in
it
the,
is in the
if she's in
comics.
these future MCU projects, future MCU movies, the Avenger movies, or like say other movies of starring other characters, I don't want her to break the fourth wall. I don't want her to break the fourth wall. I think
I want her to break the fourth wall because that's She-Hulk.
I know. It's
That's
just
who she is.
I think it was just look really awkward.
It would look really awkward, but they need to have better writers to write comedy with her
Yeah,
because the character is funny. The character is a funny character. So they didn't do that with the show. They made her more again, they always do this, right? I mean, they do this with every single character and it infuriates me, but they do it with the female like okay, the standard MCU character is just sarcasm mode, which is fucking annoying, right?
and
Like
she was like
Kim
that.
and she was just like that. It was like constant sarcasm, and it's like there needed to be a different level of humor with her than just sarcasm. It should have been like a more playful kind of humor, right?
Yeah,
With She-Hulk, like they just didn't get the character, in my opinion. They really didn't. And it should have been more
it's
parody,
just it was just.
right? Like they
I
just
just
didn't get
remember
it.
people making a big deal about her twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, like
Yeah, and that
She-Hulk.
was
I
like
guess
dumb as
that
hell.
actually fits She-Hulk though. I think She-Hulk would do
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
fits She-Hulk. It's
You
dumb that people were complaining about that, but
you
and
see,
then the ending was just so bad. It's like the ending
yeah.
is a cool idea. It's a cool idea. She rewrites a story. That's something She-Hulk would definitely do, but it's not done in a way that feels clever or interesting.
Mhm.
It also makes it feel like what was being set up didn't matter, which is true because the show isn't really plot heavy. It's more of a comedy, but it's not funny. That's the problem. So I think this deserves a C. This is
Yeah.
like a very like top, more like top tier of a C because again, it's like I see potential with it. I didn't hate the show. I finished the show, but I feel like they needed better writers. That was the problem with She-Hulk.
Okay, now we got the first Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Homecoming.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say all of these movies are A. All of these Spider-Man movies are A. Not No Way Home is not a S tier. Sorry, folks,
I
but
don't think any of Spider-Man
they're pretty
movies.
good movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Any all these movies I feel like are very consistently good. I think a lot of people they want I okay, the biggest problem with these movies is yeah, Spider-Man is changed to a degree where he's very reliant on other people, which I don't like. I don't like that he's pretty much Spider-Man with money. I don't like that either. And I think sometimes
Money
Tom
from other
Holland,
people.
yeah, I think so,
Not his
and then
money.
not his money, but yeah, but it's still it's like he's being
Yeah.
funded by other people, and I think that takes away with Spider-Man. I feel like Homecoming is underrated too. It's a very funny movie. I think it nails what it's going for. I like the Vulture as a villain. I love the moment where he's under the bricks and he's got to lift himself. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good moments. I love the twist. That was a great moment
Oh, that
too.
was a great moment when you find out it's the father of,
Yeah,
what's her name,
and then
Liz.
it was him in the car. That was a
Yeah.
great moment. There's a lot of great moments in Homecoming. I know people don't like Far From Home, but personally, I like Mysterio is one of my favorite Spider-Man
I like
villains.
Far From Home. I do. I like
So
Mysterio.
I liked what they did with the character. They updated him to be like this VFX artist. I thought it was cool. Very, very cool idea. Um, it was all these movies are fun. I think my biggest problem with No Way Home is more the writing, the how he gets involved with the multiverse. I don't like. I don't like that the way he kind of treats his friends at the ending. I didn't really like that. I also feel like we should have gotten more Toby and Andrew in the movie.
Hmm.
Um, it's still a fun movie. It's just not an S tier for me. Like after I saw No Way Home, I'm like, it's a good movie, but I have like problems with it, and it's just not the best Marvel movie. Like it's definitely like best Marvel movie in terms of holy shit, you got Toby and Andrew to come back in one movie. You know, the premise of it makes it the best Marvel movie, but the execution, it's not a top tier execution. It's not Infinity War levels of execution.
No, no,
Because
no.
if it was, the movie really should have just been focused on Toby and Andrew and Tom Holland fighting the villains. That's what it should have been. But they didn't do that, and I think it takes away from the premise. So that's why it's not an S tier for me. But yeah, still a good movie though. I rewatched these movies like last year, and yeah, they are decent. They are very good. So yeah, that's
Now,
why it's A.
now we get to Thor, the first Thor.
Yeah, first Thor. When I saw this movie as a kid, I I didn't really care for it. It wasn't. It's not like it's a bad movie. I just think it's very forgettable. I also think it's not Thor, even though it's the only Thor movie that
We
actually
had.
pays attention to the lore of Thor, which is weird, right? The other movies don't really deal with the Nine Realms. We don't really get
No.
to see Odin a ton. Um, I don't know. I'm very mixed on this movie because it's like I haven't seen it recently, but I do remember it
And,
in parts.
and
But it's
arguably
still
still might,
forgettable. It's still forgettable if you
and
get what I
arguably might still
mean.
be the best Thor movie.
I w-
Arguably.
I mean I don't know. I would say it's. I feel like we haven't gotten. Well, I haven't gotten my Thor movie yet. That's how I feel. I
This
feel
is like
like all the Thor movies
I
do
think
not reflect Thor, the
it's
comic version of Thor.
no. I think it's a C or B.
I'm gonna say B.
Yeah, agreed.
So then all the next movies,
Thor Dark
because I'm
World.
trying. Okay, Thor: The Dark World, D. I think it
Oh
has to go
fuck
to D.
yeah. Yeah, that's a D. Like that's no question about it.
Yeah, because
Just
it's just a bad movie,
there's no
poorly
debating.
written.
Everything.
The villain Malekith is a waste, total waste. Jane and Thor, they don't have chemistry. I don't like
No, no.
the casting is wrong. It's
Chris
bad casting.
Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman have no chemistry at all.
No, they have no chemistry. They're not very fun. Jane, I feel like, is just a boring fucking character. I don't like her at all. And it's really Natalie Portman, in my opinion. She's not very exciting or bubbly or you know particularly stands out. I just think she's kind of like milk toast, just
Yeah, yeah.
standard, So yeah, but this movie, like Thor: The Dark World, I think the only good part of it is, of course, Loki. That's it, and everything else pretty bad. So yeah, the next movies. So this is gonna be controversial. No, well, actually, I was gonna put them on the same tier, but no. I'll put Thor Ragnarok at C. Now I know this is gonna be
Yes,
super
because
controversial,
there
but
are some good things in Thor Ragnarok.
yeah, but I still hate Thor
I
Ragnarok.
know,
I can't stand that fucking
but
movie.
it's
I
not.
know this was like a big move. I was hyped for this movie. The trailer was fucking awesome. I
Yes, it
was like, yo,
was.
Thor versus Hulk. That's
Thor
gonna be sick
trailers
as
are
hell.
always awesome. That's the thing.
Yeah, I was so hyped for this
As a
movie.
Marvel
Then
fan.
I saw it and I said, and everybody was laughing. I did not laugh at this movie. I thought this movie was painful to fucking watch. It was not funny to me. They butchered the Hulk. Anytime they butcher the Hulk,
Hmm.
except for the Avengers movies where I'm like, there's so much other stuff going on where it's like, I'll forgive it. But the
They even
fact that
butchered
they
the Hawk in
butchered the
some Avenger
Hulk in a
movies too.
way, no, but they in
In
this
this,
movie they do something that is a slap in the face of the character. The moment where in this entire movie they set up Bruce Banner. If he turns into the Hulk, this is gonna be the last time you see him as Bruce Banner. Then all of a sudden, they use it as a fucking joke. A joke that wasn't even funny. Where he jumps off the
yeah,
bridge and he faceplant. It was not a funny joke. After they just set up this whole thing of him transforming, it's supposed to be a big moment, and they just turn the character into an absolute farce. I hate this movie. This was one of those MCU movies where I was like in shock that so many people loved it. I was like, really? This movie? Which, by the way, I should explain. I hate Taika Waititi. I've always said this. I know now it's cool to hate him, but I can't stand his movies. His movies are not funny to me at all. They're painful to watch. I tried watching We Live in the Shadows, which again, this is controversial, but that movie I turned it off. I was bored to tears watching that movie. His humor is not for me. It's not for me. So that's why I don't like these movies because I'm literally sitting there like I'm not even giggling, I'm not chuckling, I'm like straight face. And sometimes
Thor
I'm
Love and
cringing because it's not funny.
Thor Love and
So
Thunder.
yeah.
Thor Love and Thunder to me is a D. I'm
D
sorry, it's a bad
D
movie.
dog shit movie. This is the movie where it's fun to hate on it. The other
Yes,
movies, yeah, they are what they are. This movie, watching it in the theater, was the first time people were making fun of MCU movies. People were pointing out and laughing at how dumb this shit was. Fuck
yeah.
this movie. This movie
I
has
mean, Chris
bad
Hemsworth made it.
CGI.
Chris Hemsworth even noticed how bad it was. Like he even mentioned it.
Yeah,
Like
bad fucking. By the way, I'm talking about Taika Waititi
CGI was
as a
horrible.
director. Him as an actor is okay in bursts. Him as a director and writer, beyond me. I don't get the appeal. But yeah, I just want to clarify that.
He could act
But
like fun.
yeah, he can act fine. Well, but here's the thing. I see Sideways say it. Korg, you know what I want to do with Korg? I would become the fucking Punisher to hunt down this motherfucker, okay? I hate Korg. Korg sucks. He's a
they
he's a
they
lame
butchered Gore
character,
here. Gore,
bad fucking jokes, annoying as hell.
Gore,
Every fucking time he talks, you want
the
to fucking
goats.
rip your
The
ears
goats were
off.
annoying.
He sucks.
Man,
Okay?
even
Worst MCU
you
character
know,
by far.
I think I think Christian Bale. I actually think Christian Bale phoned in the role of Gore.
Yeah,
I really
Gore
think he phoned.
butchered that character.
They
Which, by the
butchered
way, you know what's
Gore.
funny? Sideways, right? I was I don't know what movie I was watching, but I think it was Old. We went to go see Old, right? Was it Old? No, that's 2021. It was a movie in 2022 when Thor came out, right? And I'm going up the escalator in the movie theater, and I point to my friends and go, "Hey, look, it's Thor: Love and Blunder, that dog shit movie we watched last week, right? As a joke, right?" And
Oh,
I said this out loud, like pretty loud, right? And some, it was like a girl. She might have been like a young adult. She was coming down the stairs. She gave me the nastiest look because I said that, and I said, "Yeah, that movie is dog shit." And she just shook her head and just kept going. I'm like, that movie is fucking dog shit, and I will scream it to the high heavens. I'll make sure everybody in the Nine Realms knows that fucking Thor Love and Blunder is one of the most infuriating, annoying pieces of garbage that Marvel Studio has ever produced. And they've produced a ton of garbage, but not one that makes me this fucking vocal. It was dog shit. Boring. Not funny. The emotional
No.
thing that they do with Jane. Why? Why did you bother? This is a fucking mess. This is a
Yeah.
mess of a movie, and I'm glad that they realized it was a mess. Because Taika Waititi, he doesn't give a shit about Thor. He does not
Well, he
give
admits that.
two hoots about
He
Thor.
admits. He admits. He kind of shit on the audience too. To people.
Yeah, he knows he just wants to make a movie, and he'll make a movie that is dumb as hell. Dumb
Yeah.
as hell.
He'll look at.
So
Oh, this is
fuck
gore.
this
Oh, he
movie.
kills gods. This is gore. He kills God. Okay, we'll make him a villain.
Can't stand this
Jamie
motherfucking
Foxx
movie,
should have been
man.
the
When I
multiverse
see the
villain.
poster of this movie, I
Dude.
my skin is like stretching out. It's literally
All
trying to
right.
remove itself from my body because just to think about the movie, it's that infuriating. Okay,
Next we got WandaVision, the first
WandaVision
MCU Disney Plus
mixed,
show. Yeah,
very
it is
mixed
mixed.
show.
Yeah.
Because I would say this. This is again an example of how you can have a phenomenal show and then that last episode ruins everything.
Oh, the last that was bad.
That last episode, I told my friend because we were talking about this. This was before we were streaming, but we were loving the show. We're like WandaVision. This is like Daredevil
Was it?
quality. Like
Yeah.
this is really good. And then we get to that last episode, and I said, I think that last episode ruined the show. And it's like, yeah, yeah, I think it did. The, that fucking the whole setup that they build up because it was like okay the emotional stuff still works, thank god it still works, but they were trying to set up this bigger thing. Why is what's his name playing Quicksilver, even though everybody recognizes he's the Quicksilver from the X-Men movies?
X-Men.
Remember, this was the start. They announced we're doing the multiverse saga and this is the first project, and they do that and then they pull this Ralph Boner crap. This was worse than Iron Man 3's twist because the twist here was a joke that
Yeah.
felt like a middle finger. If it felt like they knew exactly what they were doing. No, this is what it felt like. It felt like a Ryan Johnson moment. You know when Ryan Johnson threw up your Snoke theories are wrong,
Yeah.
and that's because he was going to kill off the character and just make him a joke. That's what this felt like. It felt like a middle finger because they knew,
Evan
they
Peters.
bloody
Yeah.
well fucking knew that people would be like, oh shit, this is going to tie into the multiverse, right? This is going to tie into Doctor Strange. This is going to tie into all this stuff. And it didn't. It
Remember,
fucking
everybody's
didn't.
like, "Oh,
And it
Mephisto's gonna show up. Mephisto."
yeah, Mephisto. I didn't even care. I wasn't even on
Mephisto.
that train because it was like it didn't even make much sense. But we were more like, oh, this is going to tie into the multiverse somehow, and then they didn't. And then also too, there's no consequences for Wanda, and it shows because the next time we see Wanda, it's like, oh,
She's
I
in a
thought you were
cabin.
okay, but now
Yeah.
you're the villain. And now everybody's saying, yeah,
Well,
what they did with WandaVision and
the original screenplay, if you believe it, she wasn't supposed to be the villain at the beginning.
well, in the original screen, okay, the original version of WandaVision made more sense, which
Yes,
was Doctor Strange was trying to communicate with Wanda because
Benedict
she,
Cumberbatch was supposed to be in WandaVision, but
yeah,
he
she
couldn't
was
make it because of
supposed
the
to be.
pandemic. Because of
No, they he listen, the version of WandaVision with Doctor Strange, that was going to happen. Right? It was
oh,
there's no problems. The reason why it didn't happen is because Marvel at the time was like, well, first off, we just had COVID. And
yeah,
so we can't have the show lead into the movie because the movie doesn't come out for another year. So what they did was they changed it and they separated the two. So the two were no longer connected, even though later on Michael Waldron was the one who said, oh, we should make Wanda into a villain. and it's not a bad idea, but they just had WandaVision, so it doesn't even make sense. Marvel should have
Well,
kept the two, and they should have the writers of
Elizabeth,
WandaVision should have
Elizabeth Olsen.
advised the people on Doctor Strange.
I think
That's what it
Elizabeth
should have
Olsen
been.
basically. I think Elizabeth Olsen in a recent interview kind of said. She basically said, "I don't think the people that did Doctor Strange watched WandaVision."
No, and she's right. They
Yeah,
didn't. They
yeah,
didn't. Yeah, it's a total farce. The thing is, the
yeah.
show is still a good show. I like the show. I think it was very creative. The emotional parts connected. The ending and the fucking bait like brings it down.
Nightmare was supposed to be the villain. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nightmare was
Nightmare
supposed
was
to be.
gonna be the villain of Multiverse of Madness, but that was with Scott Derrickson, and then Scott Derrickson
He left because
left
they couldn't do have
because
creative differences.
yeah, because of creative differences. Because his
He didn't
version,
want Wanda in it.
well, it wasn't just that. Wanda was gonna be in that movie,
He
but
was,
she was gonna
but as a
work
hero,
with
a good guy,
as a
as a
hero.
good guy,
Yeah,
as a good guy.
but the reason why is because I think this is what I think really happened. Marvel wasn't going down this cameo path. They really
No, they
weren't.
weren't. No, no, no.
And the
Those are
only reason
reshoots. Those
why,
are reshoots. All those cameo, the Illuminati was all reshoots. They were not an
and
original.
no, but even before that, because this is way before that, right?
Oh,
But I think they knew that that this multiverse thing needed to have cameos for it to work.
yeah.
And that's why they started doing some of the stuff that they're doing even now.
I mean,
And that's the reason why Scott Derrickson left is because he wanted to do a horror movie that really, yeah, it was going to be multiverse, but it wasn't going to play into the multiverse storyline of the MCU. And that's why he was just like, you know what, I don't
and you
want to
got
do
to
that.
remember, also let you know, Doctor Strange is supposed to come before Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yes. Yes, because in
American
in No Way
Chavez is
Home,
supposed to be No Way Home.
American Chavez was supposed to be in No Way Home. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a mess. That whole
The
like phase
pandemic screwed up a
4
lot of stuff too.
screw yeah, bad creative decisions, bad
Plus the-
placement of movies and
And
shows.
just
It just
bad,
didn't
and
work.
just bad timing where the world was in too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if there's one studio that really got affected by the pandemic, was Marvel. Was Marvel.
Definitely.
Was
Definitely.
Marvel. Um, yeah, but I think WandaVision is a solid B. Honestly, I think it would
Yeah,
have been.
it's a B.
Yeah,
It really would have been an A if that ending was
yeah,
stronger. Or
yeah.
if the ending was
That's
really just about
that's the
Wanda
thing
and
we
Vision.
have. That's the thing we have a complaint about the Disney Plus shows. Marvel is that their finales are not exactly. They're not. They don't hit.
No. The only one that hit was Loki, and that's why it's in the
Yeah,
S tier.
yeah.
But this if it had a really strong ending like Loki, yeah, this could have been the S. But no, they fucked it up. They
What
fucked it up.
about Werewolf by Night? Even though it was like 30,
Yeah.
50 minutes long, I liked
This,
it.
I liked it. It's decent. I think maybe my only problem is that yeah, you don't really get to play it's not a they didn't really play a lot with the concept. You don't really get to see a lot of people fight. The ending is really cool where the Werewolf by Night's in the cage and all that stuff is
Yeah,
going on. I think the only problem is even though it was cool that it was in black and white, it's not shot to be in black and white. And you
it
can
wasn't.
tell this. Yeah, and it wasn't and that's why it has a color version. But filmmaking wise, you could see that there's
I
not a lot of depth to the image and sometimes it's very confusing to
I'm
see what is going on in the background and the foreground at the
I'm
same time.
I know
So
I
that's
know
like a
the
technical thing, but yeah.
I know Michael G. What's his name? Michael G. Cano. Is that his name? G.
Yeah.
Cano.
I can't say it either.
I
But
know
he's
he's
a
more
first time
people.
director.
Yeah, because he's more of a music composer, right? And he's winning
Right.
some good. He's winning some good songs for composing
Yeah,
good
scores,
song
yeah.
scores. Even though to me, the one thing I'll say about Marvel, people don't really talk about the scores that much about Marvel.
No, they're kind of forgettable. Outside the Avengers theme,
Yeah,
they're kind of
and
forgettable, yeah.
because a lot of the scores are actually soundtracks from either from recorded artists. I
Yeah,
mean,
their soundtracks are more well, yeah, because they're just take from
I,
music that people already know, but yeah.
yeah, but I think I think a studio should give Michael another shot as a feature film because as a bigger film because that was only 50
Yeah.
minutes long. Because I think he did a good job. Um, I wonder if he's going to write the
Yeah,
scores for
it
Batman
was
too.
decent for a first time director, but it's like, yeah, I think he still needs to work
Still better.
on and improve stuff. Man Thing was cool though. Man Thing was
Yeah,
definitely
I.
nice to see.
So what do you think? S-A-B? I don't know.
Not a S. I wouldn't give this a S. I wouldn't give it a
Eh,
A either. I think George is right. I'd put it in a B. It's
B?
very fun. I didn't, yeah, B. I didn't even
Yeah.
rewatch it in color because, like, personally, it's like once you see it, it's not like there's like a moment in it where you're like, I have to see this again. You know what I mean? It didn't have a very cool moment besides the ending, and I feel like the ending was cool, but it was cool in concept, not in execution. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Next, I guess technically the Incredible Hulk, the Edward Norton one, is technically
yeah,
MCU.
yeah.
Um,
This one is kind of mixed because I feel like the movie that we got had a lot of potential, but at the same time, I feel like it sort of it, I don't know, they don't really do much with a lot of the characters. They don't do much with Thunderbolt Ross. Bruce Banner and Hulk's relationship is weird.
and I mean,
It's a weird movie.
I think, man, Edward Norton is a better Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I like personally speaking, I wish Edward Norton was
Yeah,
the
because Mark Ruffalo
MCU
looks like the type that
Hulk.
doesn't get angry. That's the way he gets mad. Like
No, I
Edward Norton,
don't like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. Yeah, he may kind of look like a Bruce Banner,
but but
more
he's
of a
too
Bruce
laid back.
Banner than Edward Norton.
But
But
when he's
Edward
getting,
Norton is a better actor overall, and I think he
yeah,
fits the Hulk and Bruce Banner more.
the thing is, Mark Ruffalo looks too laid back to be
Yeah.
Hawk, Bruce Banner Hawk. When he gets angry, you can't see Bruce. You can't picture Mark Ruffalo getting mad like Edward Norton because
No, he I don't I don't Mark Ruffalo is a decent actor, but I think the problem with him is he doesn't
he's
have
lame.
that
But
feeling like, oh, he can burst at any moment. He's very
yeah, that's what I
like,
mean. Yeah,
like he's very
yeah,
what's the term? What's the term? I was gonna say
Buffalo.
neurotic. What is the term? It
Neuro-
sounds like
I think
neurotic.
it might be neuro.
Neur
I can say combustible
Neurotic?
or
Yeah.
something.
Is it actually
Give me
is
that.
that actually the word? I think it is.
Neurotic
It's
is a
like when you're
word.
like
It is a
when
word.
you're like, yeah, you're kind of jittery and kind of like all over the place, and
No, it is a word. It's the guy.
that's
It's a YouTuber, but it is the actual word. Neurotic.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. Because I just thought it
Neurotic.
sounds
Neurotic. He spells it differently, but
yeah,
neurotic. He
right.
spells it
Where
differently.
he's like, I Bruce Banner is always on edge, right? And
Yeah,
Mark
yeah, yeah,
Ruffalo
exactly.
never
Mark
appears
Ruffalo
like
doesn't
that.
look like he's on edge. He doesn't look like
No,
yeah, like
he doesn't look like he's in
especially
stress or like
that's why he's playing Professor
discomfort.
Hawk the whole time.
Yeah, he's very calm, he's very
Yeah,
relaxed. Feels very secure, which makes no sense. I just don't like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
man,
I
look,
just don't.
Shogun's winning a lot of awards at the Emmys. It's just a great show. Have you
Yeah.
seen that yet? I think you
I
like
need
it.
to watch it. I need to watch it.
Great show.
I'm gonna get Disney Plus soon because it's like, isn't it like $1 a month?
I
So
think it's on sale. Yeah, yeah, I think it is. Yep.
yeah, I just don't.
Thank you,
I
Finbar.
really don't like. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But that I just don't like the character, or I don't like the casting, I should say. And I don't like the MCU version of Hulk. I
I
think,
mean, even Eric Bana's Hawk, you can see like bursting out.
yeah, I like Eric Bana as Bruce and
Yeah,
Hulk way better. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and the
Exactly, man.
MCU Hulk is just, I get it. They don't have the rights to the Hulk, but I feel like, the Hulk has been a character who is he appears quite often in the MCU, but at the same time,
And they're slowly
they
using his,
don't use him correctly.
and they're starting to slowly use Hawk-related characters in the MCU. You see Hawk, Red Hawk,
Yeah,
and
yeah, but
bringing
they're
back
not.
Yeah.
But again, it's not associated with him, and so
Well,
there's a lack of a
where's
connection with these
what the
characters
hell is
because they're
happening with
Hulk
Universal?
characters.
Why can't if Disney and Sonic can make a Spider-Man, what can't they do to the Hawk?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope by now they have the rights because I think
Yeah.
we need a Hulk movie. And I
Yeah,
know that you
yeah.
could say Hulk movies haven't
When
done
did when
well,
did Edward
but
Norton's Hawk movie come out? Same year as Iron Man, right?
yeah,
2008.
2008, a
It's
month
been
after Iron Man.
16 years. Like,
Yeah, it's
come on.
been long. It's been too long. I think I mean, personally, if I mean, these are two options I would say for a Hulk movie. You do World War Hulk or you do Immortal Hulk. Because
Yes.
Immortal Hulk is the one that I think has a great concept. You could see, oh, this could be a movie, right? Yeah, it's a very long story. There's a lot of different arcs, a ton of characters show up, but you really need to have a movie that is focused on the dynamic of Hulk and Bruce Banner. And the
Shogun has won
MCU
18
hasn't.
Emmys. Holy shit.
Damn, that's a
18.
lot. But the MCU has not done that. And so this movie, I'm gonna put it at C.
Yeah, I'll put it at C. Even though we're basically getting some. I mean, this right. Leaders coming back. I mean, Tim
Hmm.
Roth's Abomination is from this movie. Uh, Harrison Ford, Harrison Ford Thunders with Ross is from this movie, even though it's a different
Hmm.
actor because the previous actor tragically passed away. Um,
Right.
and Betty Ross, Liv Tyler's coming back. It's great. I mean, it makes sense with. I mean, Jennifer Connelly is in the MCU. She voices. I think she voices the thing Spider-Man used. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, as you can see, there's not like I mean, my ranking, like I only put specific movies in the S tier because they really need to meet a
yeah.
certain credential. Like they need to have something in them that is very unique. And this is what I look at in a comic book movie, right? I think you need to really understand the characters, both from the comic and the movie version, and try to evolve them in a way that is interesting and unique without it being a slap in the face. I also think they need to have emotional depth to separate the characters. What is unique about Deadpool versus Spider-Man? And that's why
Mm-hmm.
you have all these superheroes. They need to be different, and they also need to be different personality wise. I also think you need to have really cool action sequences. It needs to feel reflective of the character's powers and their personality, their style, right?
The skills, powers, personality, style. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's another thing too is a lot of the movies that are below A, I don't think they utilize the character's powers in interesting ways. They
mm-hmm.
don't really use them in interesting ways, or they don't pair up powers in an interesting way. I think the MCU needs to really work on finding unique ways of the characters using their powers. It can't just be punch, punch, bang, bang. You gotta find different ways of using the characters' powers. I also think the event movies, the bigger movies, really need to understand. They need to understand you need to have shocking moments. You need to take some risks and you need
mm-hmm.
to make the audience feel like, oh, I need to see the next movie. Even though they're going to see the next movie regardless, they need to feel it story wise. Just like if you're reading a comic book issue to issue, when you hit the last page of a good comic, you're like, damn, I gotta wait next week to see to read the next one, or the next month to read the next comic. That's what it needs to feel like with each of these movies. Is that it feels like even though the story has been told, there's something else, a thread that's hanging that leads you to the next one. So, I mean, we're still going to get a ton more MCU movies. It's not going to stop anytime soon, but they definitely need to improve, right? They need to improve
I think
on their game.
I think they'll be slowing down the MCU movies though to like two a year after this saga.
Yeah, which is fine. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem, George. Have a good night.
Yeah, yeah, we're done because we did a
Yeah, we're
list. So
pretty much
majority,
done.
I'm not surprised. Majority is in the B. B is basically
Yeah,
average to like. I mean, like B is basically average to at least good. Where A is like almost
right.
good to great, and A and S is great. So I'm not surprised. I don't think we're surprised. Like, I'm trying
No.
not to speak for you, but I don't think we're surprised that B is the biggest group here. The biggest has the most.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Most MCU movies are going to be average. They're not the worst
Yeah.
thing ever, but they're not the greatest thing ever. And so when there is great MCU movies, like they do need to be like talked about, and you do need to break them down as to why we like them. So then it's like, okay, now we can go off and make more that are similar, but also take risks. They need to just take more risks. Stop being afraid of, you know, something new. Because
See,
so far
see,
the MCU just wants to copy what was relevant 10 years ago.
see, you see the franchises in the C and the D section. What the MCU guys to look at is these franchises that they're not gonna look at this list, but if they were, they gotta look at the movies in the C and D section and try to elevate them to at least to the B or to the A section.
Right,
Find a way for the next movie that follows in the line. Like say they're gonna do a Captain Marvel 3, they gotta find a way to get to a B, the B
right.
rank.
And I would say one, you would have to radically for using that example. If they were to do a Captain Marvel 3, I think the character needs to be radically changed.
Yes.
Personality wise, give her like some reason of like, oh, she's in this renaissance or this like I don't know, self-awakening, self-improvement. Change the outfit, make a new outfit that is very similar to the classic Miss Marvel look that everybody knows, the black and the yellow. I would also say they need a really good villain. I would say Michael Korvac is a pretty good villain for Captain Marvel 3.
You need
Um,
a good
with
hero
a good
always needs
actor too.
a good hero always needs a good villain. In my book,
Right.
in a movie or a TV show,
So I mean,
the
I
villain
think
makes a hero.
yeah, and if they were to do a Thor 5, I think Thor 5 needs to really take I think the cosmic idea is a that's Thor, that's Marvel's Thor. You need to keep that element, but I also think you may need to pull a little bit more seriousness into it. Like now that this cosmic stuff is acceptable, why can't we get a serious cosmic Thor movie? You know,
Yeah,
why can't that be a thing? You know, that's
yeah,
epic in scale, that is very fantastical. It almost feels like you're watching you know, like the last God of War games, but as a movie, right? Where it's like
yeah.
epic fights and boss fight. Like they need to really focus on that, right? So I don't know, the
All right,
MCU can improve in a lot of different ways. So yeah.
all right. We're gonna end it here, guys. Thank you for coming on. Blind Rick,
Yeah.
where we find you,
Threads and YouTube, Blinded Braille, at Blinded Braille.
and you can find me here. Um, yeah, I'll see you Tuesday, guys. No, Tuesday it might not be. I might be doing a Tony stream. I don't know. This new show. Uh,
Trying to get
Wednesday for
on there
sure.
too.
If I do the yeah Wednesday. Oh yeah, I guess that was Wednesday, right? So might do the
Yeah.
after stream on that Wednesday. I think I could do it like at 10:30 because they're like what half an hour episodes. Okay. Yeah, I know
Mm,
Finbar. And then Thursday, I don't know if I'm gonna do a stream Thursday because the Ping One shows are 2 episodes and they're like an hour long, so it'd be like 11 o'clock by the time I would start a stream. I don't know if I want to do that, so I might just move it to Friday night if that's
right. I
okay.
mean, I might have to watch it on Friday night.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
So looking, I'll be heads